The following program is paid for and presented by John DeMasi. The opinions expressed are not those of Town Square Media or station advertisers.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5 presents Talk with a Purpose. Join the conversation by calling 609-407-1450. Now the host of Talk with a Purpose, John DeMasi.
As you know, yesterday was Groundhog's Day. And it's really the folks at the Biden administration, he didn't see his shadow. So that means 6 more, or we're going to have an early spring. Good. But the folks at the Biden administration were disappointed because if he saw his shadow, that would have meant in 6 weeks, Kamala Harris will turn into a real vice president. I mean, it's a true story. Wishful thinking. Good morning and welcome to another edition of Talk with a Purpose. Every Saturday, 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. I'm John DeMasi. Good to have you with us. And it's you and me for the next 3 hours with a lot to talk about here on the show. And of course, as always, the number in the studio, 609-407-1450. That's 609-407-1450 at any time during the course of the show. If you want to chime in on anything we're talking about, feel free to do that. 609-407-1450. A lot to talk about today here on the show, and maybe some surprises as well. So stick around for all of the festivities here on Talk with a Purpose. That was a little joke for Groundhog's Day, okay. But really, this is, and I was reluctant to really start the show by talking about this. And I even called Seth Grossman and I said, you know, I got to talk about this. Do you mind? He said, go right ahead and talk about it. And of course, he's listening on hold here. So I'm sure he will have plenty to respond. But you may have noticed a newspaper article, and it was in the Philadelphia Inquirer, too. The headline that read, AC political operative accused of vote fraud. Craig Calloway is the political operative that they were talking about. I find it curious that they describe, you know, today you got a name for everything. A political operative. I call him a crook, plain and simple. I mean, that's all I can say. And the reason I'm bringing Seth into this is because, well, you know, I'm kind of sad because Seth has become a good friend, and he does occasionally fill in for me, and he's a part of this show. And he does a good job. But this has to do with his annual fundraiser. And the fundraiser usually features an accomplished and distinguished speaker. I don't think Craig Calloway is anything but accomplished. And of course, Seth will disagree probably, but that's okay. But to me, and if I'm heading an organization and I'm doing a fundraiser, and Seth has done this in the past, he's had some really good people. And then you follow that up with this is the big fundraiser for the year. And you follow that up with Craig Calloway. You know, Seth is a very good lawyer, and he's a good person. And to me, he looked at this only as a teaching moment because he wanted to show liberty and prosperity and all of the people who would be attending that this is what you can do when you work within the system. And that's fine. But then if you have somebody that's going to be your speaker and first, you know, he went to jail, and he went to jail for, you know, a pretty nasty crime. I just couldn't see that. So it's a teaching moment, in Seth's opinion, and that's really all. I mean, Jeff Van Drew hired him. I don't think Van Drew needed him, to be very honest with you. And Amy Kennedy hired him for her primary win, and she won the primary. Curiously, she didn't hire him for the general election. Now, some would say, well, she lost because she didn't hire him. I don't think so. But in any case, if it were me, or if in the role that I usually am advising clients on advertising or public relations, I would just have to say, your intentions are good, but the result is, well, you saw where the result led you. Callaway was arrested. He's out of jail, and I understand he will still be speaking at the fundraiser for Liberty and Prosperity, and that will be in 2 weeks. But anybody who would set up a political opponent with a fake prostitute to get something on an opponent is not the kind of guy I would want. I mean, this is me speaking. It's my show, so obviously it's me speaking. But, and again, if somebody else wants to have him, well, okay. But maybe you have to deal with what that brings you, that baggage that brings you this particular person. I know all's fair in love and politics, but hiring Craig Callaway is like hiring a fox to guard the henhouse. That's the only analogy I can think of. Seth Grossman meant well. And like I said, Callaway is still going to be the speaker at the fundraiser in 2 weeks. I sent my check in, but of course, you know where I'll be, so I can't be there. And I probably, if I were able to attend, I probably would for Seth's sake, nothing else. But in 2 weeks, you know where I'll be, and hopefully this will all blow over, and everybody will be nice, and We'll bring on Seth for a few minutes earlier today, and I'll let him give his side of the story. You heard my side, so now we'll bring in Seth. Seth, good morning and welcome. Seth Grossman, Liberty and Prosperity.
Good morning, and yes, we'll have plenty to discuss. I'd like to begin by talking about that horrible crime that Craig Callaway committed, 23 years ago. And it's very interesting when we talk about a lot of people like Trump, where what is horrible now, 20, 30 years ago, was normal. And to understand what Craig Callaway did 23 years ago, do you know the supermarket tabloid, The Globe?
Yes.
I don't know if you remember that, but that was...
Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
Back in 1997, a sensational supermarket tabloid. And their big story was about Frank Gifford, a football player who became a journalist, married to Kathy Lee Gifford. And do you remember that scandal?
Yes, I did. Oh, yes.
The very attractive airline stewardess, for whatever reason, got Frank Gifford to come to the room and took the videotape, and it was put on the, on the Globe, all the pictures in the tabloid magazine. And it was a whole controversy, and as to whether, who's at fault. Is it horrible for the magazine and for the woman to do this? Because at the time, when you took these videos, if one person consented to it, it was legal, it was normal, it was horrible, it was a dirty trick. But it was done, and of course, after that, in 1997, laws were passed in New Jersey to make what used to be normal and legal a crime. Until 1997, in that that Frank Gifford situation, it was not a crime. Of course, Craig Callaway, not being a lawyer, had no idea where neither did some of the other more respectable Republicans. I won't even name their names who were involved in that. But what happened there was you had this guy called Gene Robinson, who was sort of a wannabe politician who could never win an election. And he called himself a preacher. And he was running for election, and he promised Craig Calloway, if you support me and get me elected, I will make you council president. And, of course, as soon as Gene Robinson won the election because of Craig Calloway, he double-crossed Calloway and picked somebody else. And in the Jewish community, this particular Gene Robinson also said, I'm a friend of the Jewish community. I really feel bad for the anti-Semitism going on in the black community. And then when Louis Farrakhan came to town, there was Gene Robinson as a councilman sitting on the podium right with Louis Farrakhan. So here you had this politician who would often say one thing and do another. And as he called himself a preacher, he would go out on Pacific Avenue and picking up prostitutes. And that was not a fake prostitute, by the way. That was a real one. And so to show the hypocrisy, Calloway did that, not knowing that what the Globe had done with Frank Gifford was now a crime. Horrible, looking back on today's standards, we would never ever do that today. But, what's horrible today, it's tough to judge what was going on, 23, 24 years ago. Anyway, but that's not the issue right now as far as we're concerned. We invited Craig Calloway to speak to Liberty and Prosperity for our yearly fundraiser, not just to raise funds, but to have, as you pointed out, a teachable moment. And 2024 is a very, very important election year. And we had 4 important questions. How do mail-in and messenger ballots work? How do they change elections? How do they change election campaigns? How did Democrats use mail-in and messenger ballots in 2020 to win Pennsylvania, Georgia, Michigan, Wisconsin, and those other swing states? How did they help Murphy defeat Ciattarelli for governor in 2021? Why do black Americans vote overwhelmingly for Democrats? How can Republicans win their votes again? How can conservatives and Republicans win national and New Jersey elections again? So those are the fundamental questions that we had. And after Craig Calloway was arrested and we were frantically looking for other speakers, Craig called and said, no, I want to speak on the very topics you invited me to speak about. And after talking to several of our members, we agreed, all right, let's continue because that doesn't affect the program. And then when we read more carefully into the actual details of the charges against Craig Calloway, we start to wonder whether he is being prosecuted because he committed a great amount of vote fraud or because he's a black man who works for Republican candidates from time to time. And especially when you look at the affidavit, Craig Calloway, by the way, he's being charged with submitting 4 fraudulent votes in November 22 out of the 851 messenger ballots he delivered. And a couple of things are curious. Maybe the FBI has evidence that they're not showing, but they're saying that the reason that the votes are fraudulent are because the people who voted those ballots said they didn't remember voting. I would expect, when you sign false statements on a messenger ballot, they'd say, well, here's the forged signature. And that's obviously not the signature of the person who did it. But the FBI chose not to investigate this, even though they took 5 weeks of surveillance and video before the 2022 election. It appears they waited till after all the absentee ballot documents were destroyed before they did this investigation to bring the charges. And it just so happens that the charges are brought a year later, just when someone like Calloway would be working for Republicans again in a 2024 important election. So, I don't know the facts, but, we decided to just go forward.
Well, you explained that, but It's in my opinion. I mean, you have your opinion, I have mine. It's a bad look. That's all there is to it.
No question. I mean, obviously, we wanted a lot of publicity before the fundraiser.
Well, you got it.
When you're working out the details of a fundraiser and you get a call from Amy Rosenberg of the Philadelphia Inquirer, you know it's not going to be a good day.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's the background. And meanwhile, there are other things going on which I'd like to discuss if it's possible.
Oh, sure.
And that is number one. Rob Thomas, well-known singer-songwriter with Matchbox 20, came to the Hard Rock Cafe or Hard Rock to do a concert a couple weeks ago, and of course he interrupted, not just interrupted, but during the concert he said, look, I love the audience, I love performing here in Atlantic City, but I can't escape the fact that we've had 5 murders just outside this casino in the last 2 weeks. And in Atlantic City, we've got to do something about what's going on. And that really goes to the heart of what Liberty and Prosperity is promoting, the fact that, if you don't have liberty, if people can't be safe, if you don't have a system of respect for law, if you don't have laws that people understand, and people could just do what they want to do, you could have all the money in the world, all the casinos, all the security, all the everything, and you can't have a civilized society. And the fact that you have an entertainer like Rob Thomas, who's just performing at a casino, can't do a concert without mentioning it, I think that shows, the problem that we're dealing with.
Yeah, that's for sure.
And then another thing with the media, one of the side notes when I was interviewed for the press by Craig Calloway, about Craig Calloway, I found out sadly that the editorial page manager, a guy called Kevin Post, was laid off by the press. And as you notice, the Press of Atlantic City, our last remaining newspaper, has been getting more and more woke every year. And Kevin Post, who manages the editorials and the letters to the editor, has been very fair and very capable. And the fact that he's now gone just means the press is just going to go even further to the left than it already is. That was a sad thing to notice.
More and more, they're giving less and less of the local stuff. Have you noticed that? They're like,
I did, and basically the whole press is they have like a little column on one page, a little square in fine print, and that's all the local news, and the rest of the paper is just national stories promoting a leftist agenda on just about everything.
That's right.
But I still have my subscription. I'm going to keep it going for the rest of the year anyway. And then the other major story going on with the wars in the Middle East. One of the things that we point out every week at Liberty and Prosperity is that there are enemies who really want to destroy America and destroy our way of life. And one of them is basically a communist mafia that includes the leaders of North Korea and China and Russia. So we always talk about Putin and we talk about Xi and the Chinese. It's really one basically movement that cannot survive if people are free and independent. And they are using every lie, every trick, every bribe to destroy us. And we point out every week that instead of talking about China, Russia, North Korea, we need to talk about the overall movement that has been trying to destroy our way of life for more than 100 years. But you can't even say the word communism or communist, but that's how you identify your enemy. And the other thing that's going on right now, of course, is the jihad movement against America, against Europe, against Israel, and against India. And what has gotten almost no, news reports whatsoever is what's going on in India. And basically last week they had what's called India Republic Day. And the Prime Minister of India, Prime Minister Modi, dedicated a Hindu temple right in a spot that the Muslims were claiming was their sacred ground. And basically He just built a Hindu temple, and thousands of people went to that village to pray there. And right away, the jihadists are backing away. In other words, when India showed determination and strength, the jihadis are backing off. And Israel is fighting back. And it seems that the only people who are not fighting back against these jihadi attacks are the Christians. In Europe, the Christians in Africa, Christians in America, that Christians are being murdered in the Philippines and Africa every week, and you hear nothing about it, nothing's being done to defend them. So needless to say, we're the subject of the attacks, whereas India and Israel fighting back, they're going to be safe. So it's interesting to know that when you're strong and you fight back, you're actually safer than when you're weak and you try to apologize and make deals with everybody. And that brings us to one little detail about Islam. Since last month, of course, was Muslim Heritage Month in New Jersey. And there are really two movements within Islam that Americans know very little about. And that goes to the meaning of the word jihad. Because according to the mainstream interpretation of Islam, there was a time when Muhammad said, we have to give up, and he was coming back from the Battle of Badr, B-A-D-R. And Muhammad said, we have to go away from the lesser jihad, and we have to go to the greater jihad. And for like hundreds of years, mainstream Muslims said that meant that Muslims no longer had to fight wars and kill non-believers. It meant looking for, inner spiritual strength. However, a sect or a cult of Islam called the Wahhabi sect or the Jihad sect or the radical type of Islam they have in Iran did the opposite. They said, oh, no, the most important mission of every Muslim is to kill anyone who doesn't believe and have constant war against the non-believers. But for hundreds of years, that violent interpretation of Islam was isolated, it was radical, it was on the margin. But only since oil was discovered in Saudi Arabia, with the Saudis giving billions of dollars each year to promote the radical type of Islam, that's what's causing this worldwide attacks on us against us around the world. And we have to learn to recognize our enemy, because if we don't recognize our enemy, and we always try to apologize and make peace with them, they will see us as weak and they will keep attacking us. So anyway, and Israel is fighting back, India is fighting back, but you don't see any publicity or any news reports about the dramatic change going on in India. But it's very real, and India is now taking the leadership in this worldwide fight to save civilization.
Why is that they don't say anything about India?
I don't know. But if you Google it, in fact, if you use that mytakelive.com to sort of see the different views of news, you see it's out there. But in the mainstream American media, they're really downplaying it, and you really wonder who our media is working for. But I if you would look up Modi, if you would look up India, if you would look up new Hindu temple, you'll see a lot of news stories. And everybody thought that by Modi taking that stand, it would cause division. But all the news is saying how the whole country of India is rallying behind him to stand up for Indian values and Western values. So that's one of the things going on. And little details. Of course, in Atlantic City, the road diet is going forward. So even though Atlantic City and the state spent millions of dollars making streets wider to accommodate the Hard Rock Casino and the what used to be the Revel Casino, we are now taking Atlantic Avenue and turning it from a 4-lane street to a 2-lane street to create traffic, and it's all done to promote this woke environmental agenda of punishing people who use cars or who commute to and from work. We have that going on. And the other shock that I just got remember the lawsuit that Liberty and Prosperity brought to try to get the casinos to pay their fair share of the taxes?
Yes, I remember.
The court just stalled it and just did nothing about the case for a year and a half. I just got notice yesterday that the case will be heard on March 20th. So we'll see if anything happens there.
Well, good luck with that one. That's an ongoing. It's an ongoing thing.
Yeah, after all the money's gone, the court will finally hear the case, and who knows what we're going to decide. So, see, you got me all wound up, and I had said everything I had to say 3 minutes early. So,
yeah, well,
go figure.
I gave you 3 minutes extra.
Well, anyway, so if you're listening and it's a Saturday, the Liberty and Prosperity meeting starts from 9:30 to 10:30 for breakfast. All this is what we talk about. If you're listening Sunday, come to our meeting next week. And, of course, everything that I probably will say, gee, I should have brought this up, it's posted at libertyandprosperity.com.
Seth, thank you, as always. Seth Grossman, Liberty and Prosperity, his website, libertyandprosperity.com. It is Talk with a Purpose every Saturday, 9 till noon, WPG, Talk Radio 95.5. We'll talk to Craig after the break, and maybe we'll talk to you. Got some few open lines at 609-407-1450. Back with more Talk with a Purpose in just a moment.
When it comes to you and your family's financial wellness, there are so many things to talk about. We could go on forever. To help guide you along the way, Joe Yakovich has written a book called The Heart of Your Money, Inspiration for Financial Wellness. In the book, Joe talks about longevity, inflation, retirement surprises, and many other topics. For your free copy of The Heart of Your Money, call the office of Joe Yakovich at JML Financial at 856-751-1771 or email Joe at jyakovich@brokersifs.com. For over 37 years, Joe Yakovich has been helping families throughout the area navigate the difficulties of a sound financial plan. You'll find Joe's approach to be different and not just the cookie-cutter methods that are prevalent in today's world. The path to your financial wellness and or retirement starts with a call to Joe Yakovich at JML Financial Group, 856-751-1771, 856-751-1771, or email Joe at jyakovich@brokersifs.com. Joe Yakovich is registered with and securities and investment advisory services are offered through Brokers International Financial Services, LLC, member SIPC. Brokers International Financial Services, LLC is not an affiliated company.
And we're back here on Talk with a Purpose, 609-407-1450. Let's talk to Craig in Northfield. Craig, good morning. Welcome to Talk with a Purpose.
Well, good morning, John. How are you?
I'm good. How about you?
Not bad. I'm getting ready for the Super Bowl, you know.
I don't want to talk about that because you know how I feel about the both teams.
Well, you know, I got to be honest with you. I'm going for Andy. I like Andy Reid, you know. He was our old coach, so I got to swing in his court.
Yeah, well, why didn't he do here what he's doing there? That's a whole other topic and a whole other story.
Be a lot going on this week.
Yeah.
I want to start up in New York City here. First, I want to talk about commercial, you know, business, UPS trucks. Maybe you're going up there to visit. You're going to go in the big business district there. Did you see what the governor's planning?
Yeah.
What did you see?
I saw that you're going to pay an extra toll if you're entering New Jersey. New York. I'm sorry.
No, if you're in the traffic zone in New York City, Madison, you know,
yeah,
in that area, you're going to pay a $23 tax to drive on that road.
Yeah,
a congestion tax.
Yeah.
So and then we had the federal government get involved over there again, so you can see how good the government is.
Yeah.
Did you see what they did to Spirit? They crushed that deal. And it appears that Spirit may have to go bankrupt, and they're already looking to sell their planes to a third world country.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh yeah. So it used to be with the tax that's coming up, by the time you get done parking and the tolls and the gas, it was actually cheaper to fly to Florida than to drive to New York.
I know. Yeah.
Am I wrong?
No, you're right.
Yeah,
You're right.
if you played your cards right. And so, did you see what... I may have to get off. But anyway, did you see what happened with Megyn Kelly?
No.
Her immune system.
Wow.
From taking the Moderna pill, allegedly. She was talking about that, and they're not too happy about that. And that's why we wanted to talk about that Super Bowl. Taylor Swift and Kelsey over there.
Yeah. So what's it?
For, the Pfizer, big advertiser. So Pfizer, Democratic Party gets a lot of funding from that, and who's Taylor Swift for?
She is for Kansas City.
No, she's for Joe Biden.
Oh yeah. Oh, of course.
Oh yeah. You saw how much money she gave. So much for intelligent decisions. They may be good at singing. They may be good at football. But you saw what happened with Megyn Kelly. She's talking about her immune system is bad. Did you know that?
No,
I didn't. Third shot of Moderna. That's what she came out and said. So what I'm saying is, you know who got immunity?
Who?
Pfizer and Moderna.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
I had to play with that word a little bit.
Yeah.
For you. But talking about immunity and medical. Did you know that they got a medical and recreational store in Egg Harbor Township that opened up on the Black Horse Pike?
Yes, I did, but I didn't know much more about it.
Okay. And did you see all the crime that's going on over there?
No.
Me neither. There's none. So for those municipalities that said... Okay, what it's going to bring, and the stench and the smell and the people hanging out. Well, I get to drive by there about 4 times a day. You know what? I see more cars there than I see across the street at Raymore and Flanagan as far as customers go. I don't see people hanging out. I do see high-end cars. And what I'm getting to is Egg Harbor Township, they received, before this store opened up, $850,000 of revenue from marijuana.
Whoa.
And with this store opening up, they probably are getting $250,000 more in revenue from marijuana.
Wow.
And that's why, EHT has a beautiful sports complex, for their children, to keep them occupied with, that help keep the crime down and also keep the kids exercising and using their brain a little bit. Northfield, you missed the boat on that one. The politicians still haven't even put it up for a vote, even after the public's voted on it twice and approved it. But our politicians over there in Northfield are being very political.
Yeah.
I want to leave you with this.
Yeah.
Because, Seth talks about the election and everything like that. Did you see what the Gateway pundit came out with?
No.
Oh, that tens of thousands of registrations for the 2020 election were illegal.
Oh, jeez.
And a FOIA document was revealed to the government, and the FBI knew it, and the judicial system knew it, and they did
Nothing.
0.
Yep.
And who was in charge of the judicial system for Donald J. Trump? Do you remember?
No, I don't.
I'll help you.
Okay.
None other than Mr. Barr. Remember?
Oh, yes.
And what did he say?
Yeah.
And what does this prove?
Yeah.
That's the second person. Don't forget, you had a person from Pennsylvania do that as well.
Yeah.
I'll leave you with that, John. Great show all the time. Thank you for allowing me to come on.
Okay, thanks. Thanks for the call, Craig. 609-407-1450. We're going to talk to Frank after the break, and maybe we'll talk to you. Again, a couple of open lines, 609-407-1450. It is Talk with a Purpose every Saturday, 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. And again, I'm John DeMasi. Good to have you with us. We will get back to more of Talk with a Purpose in just a moment. But first, we talk about good stuff, all good stuff and no controversy, B.F. Mazzeo. And you wouldn't normally think of Valentine's Day in relationships to B.F. Mazzeo. But I'll tell you why. If you go into B.F. Mazzeo and you walk right in and you look to your right, you'll see a refrigerator, and you'll see a lot of fruit flowers. And they're made in an arrangement like fruit, but it looks like flowers. And it's pineapple and strawberries and all that. And then they have chocolate-covered strawberries. And then they have these decorative arrangements, and all of it would be perfect for Valentine's Day. Now, of course, hopefully, you will get your significant other something else if you want to stay on the good side. But it's a nice additional gift, and I know I used to send my mother these fruit flower arrangements, and she loved it. It was really a great thing. So you want to try that. But I want to talk about some of the finer things at B.F. Mazzeo, and that is, I tried, and I used to try it, and I just got away from it. I got the chicken salad last week, and I'll tell you what, I have never had chicken salad that good. I mean, it is really, really tasty and delicious, and it's a perfect little pick-me-up for lunch or for a snack or whatever. But the soups, the prepared foods, the baked goods, all of it is there, and it's all homemade. And that's the thing. I had the Italian wedding soup the other day at B.F. Mazzeo. I mean, I haven't tasted wedding soup like that since my family used to make it, and I'm talking 40 years ago. So, this is the thing. B.F. Mazzeo is the place to go, not only for the finest fresh fruit and produce, but also for baked goods, prepared foods, specialty items, you name it, they have it. And if they don't have it, they'll make it for you. I mean, they won't make a car, that's not their business. But they'll make it for you. B.F. Mazzeo, 601 New Road, Northfield, and online at bfmazzeo.com. Stop in, say hello, tell them you heard about it here on Talk with a Purpose. We're coming back with more of your calls on Talk with a Purpose after these words.
If you're interested in driving one of the finest automobiles on the market today, then you'll want to check out all of the fabulous new and pre-owned Lexus at Lexus of Atlantic City. Lexus of Atlantic City, 3169 Fire Road in EHT. Driving a Lexus is like no other vehicle on the market. Test drive one for yourself at Lexus of Atlantic City. Whether it's new or pre-owned, you'll be more than satisfied. In fact, Lexus is consistently #1 when it comes to customer satisfaction. Visit Lexus of Atlantic City, 3169 Fire Road in EHT. Or you can check out their outstanding selection of new, pre-owned, and L-certified pre-owned vehicles on their website, LexusOfAtlanticCity.com. That's LexusOfAtlanticCity.com. Or if you want more information, call 609-641-0008. Lexus of Atlantic City, now celebrating their 26th year in the area. A dealership that you'll enjoy. No pressure, no gimmicks, no hassle, no hype. Lexus of Atlantic City, 3169 Fire Road in EHT. And remember, always online at LexusOfAtlanticCity.com. You're invited to attend a very important and informative seminar Tuesday, February 6th and Tuesday, February 13th at 6 p.m. at the Stockton University Campus Center, Meeting Room 5. The seminar will feature Joe Yankovich, host of The Heart of Your Money, heard right here on WPG Talk Radio 95.5. Joe will discuss tax management and income strategies in retirement, and of course, will answer any and all of your questions. Stay informed and up to date. Attend this important seminar Tuesday, February 6th and Tuesday, February 13th at 6 p.m. at the Stockton University Campus Center, Meeting Room 5. You can register online. Simply go to jmlfinancialgroup.com and click on the link. See you at the seminar.
Your WPG Talk Radio 95.5 AccuWeather forecast for South Jersey. Today, breezy with plenty of sunshine, remaining dry and sunny into the week, high 45. For tonight, clear with a low of 25. For tomorrow, plenty of sunshine, a nice end to the weekend with a high of 48. And then on Monday, plenty of sunshine with a high of 45. On Tuesday, mostly sunny, highs in the upper 30s. I'm AccuWeather's Caitlin Lawrence on WPG Talk Radio 95.5.
Back here on Talk with a Purpose, just want to remind you that we have the Talk with a Purpose replay. We are now on Sundays from 5 until 7. So we get a 2-hour replay, 5 until 7 every Sunday. Talk with a Purpose replay right here, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. Let's go back to the phones. Frank is in Absec. And Frank, good morning. Welcome to Talk with a Purpose.
Good morning, John. I want to start off by saying I enjoy your show every week.
Thank you.
And I enjoy the back and forth that you normally have with Seth Grossman every week. He's very informative.
Thank you.
I'm a contemporary of Seth. I know him a long, long time. I remember when he was hustling petitions with the Palillo brothers to change the form of government in Atlantic City, and I was in the room when he became McLernan by a single vote to become a freeholder. But I have to tell you, for as outrageous as he could be at times, nothing pales with the performance he gave you this morning. To invoke the name of Gene Robinson as a defense at the top of the show, for your listening audience, whether you know it or not, Gene Robinson's dead. Dead people can't speak. So when you throw out a story about the faults of a man who's only human, okay, and all of us humans have faults, as a defense, and then to use a story about Frank Gifford as justification that Craig didn't know when he was blackmailing somebody and taping somebody in a hotel room that it wasn't a crime. Come on, we know better.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't know. First of all, I didn't know who Gene Robinson was, and I didn't know he was dead. So that's news to me. So, but thank you for sharing that.
Right, but you want to justify somebody's actions? Blame a dead guy.
Yeah,
because a dead guy can't talk.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Okay. Then on top of it, we all know to a person that to hire Craig Calloway is a bad move.
Yeah.
Any politician that does it is making a mortal sin, and it eventually will come back to bite you in the tuchus. There's no question about it.
Yeah, I thought so too. Yeah, I thought so too.
To compound it even more, to have him as a speaker at a organization that prides itself on liberty and prosperity, where the charge through the years against this guy is that he stole people's liberties. He's poisoned the ballot box. He's poisoned the system of how elections are run fair and square. And to have him as your speaker, okay, he got a mulligan. The guy got arrested. So you go to somebody else. Yeah. You're bringing a multitude of speakers.
I thought
certainly can find somebody. No, you bring him back.
I thought so too. No, he called Seth and he said he's still going to be able to speak, and so they said yeah. So that's
of course.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't he? Yeah. Why wouldn't he? He's his own advertising machine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And for Seth, for someone as bright as he is, and look, Seth Grossman is as smart as anybody you know.
Yeah.
This is a worldly guy who's very bright on lots of subjects. Wow. He blew this one. And for the organization not to say, hey, Seth, what are you doing here with this guy? This is a bad look. You said it. This is a bad look for this organization.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I got to tell you, as one that would normally send them a check, I can't send them a check this year. I can't do it based upon the way they're handling this situation. It's so bad that it's hard for me to tell you and stay calm about it, because that's how insulting it is.
I thought all of that too when I first heard it, and I advise people on stuff like this, and I wanted to tell Seth, but he's his own person. And he's got a board there, and they all sit around and talk about it. So I thought, well, maybe somebody will say something. But I was very uncomfortable for him when I heard who the speaker was. And I still sent in my check because I support their organization. But it's a bad look. I said it. It's a bad look. and I wouldn't want to have anything to do with it. That's my take on it.
Yep. And by the way, just one last thing. He, in his defense of Craig getting arrested, said, well, it was only 4 votes, and he's a black man. What the hell's that got to do with anything?
Okay. Yeah, you're right.
Okay. Because anyone that knows Craig Calloway knows he preys on the downtrodden in the African American community to harvest his votes.
That's right.
And a guy as astute as Seth Grossman try to make that defense, it's almost as bad as blaming Gene Robinson.
Yeah.
I mean, he just compounded himself today. He was terrible. It was an absolutely horrible performance for a guy who's normally very informative.
Yes, he is.
And knowledgeable.
Yes, he is.
So maybe we have to give him a mulligan, and maybe at that meeting today, someone with a little bit of sense comes forward and says, you know what, maybe we should revisit this issue, because this may not be the right thing, because this is not what we're about.
That's right. Frank, very good call. Thanks a lot for the call. I feel sorry for Seth. He's going to have to live with this for a couple of weeks anyway. Bill is in Ocean City. Bill, good morning. Welcome to Talk with a Purpose.
Good morning, John. I'm old enough to remember when Mayor Whalen was running for re-election.
Yes.
And was ahead until sometime during Election Day. It's reported that Callaway showed up with hundreds of messenger ballots and turned the election around, and Mayor Whalen lost.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
So I think that prompted a rule that is in place now that you're allowed to deliver 3 ballots of other people, or 5 at the most if they're all family members.
Yeah.
And one of the ways, but it's still not secure, because one of the ways you can vote are these ballot drop boxes. Every county has 10 of them. They're all over the state.
Yeah, I know.
And they say they're secured, but that just means they're locked up so you can't take ballots out of them. So what does the Board of Elections do if on the security camera they show up and they see on the security camera that at 3 or 4 in the morning some guy who you can't recognize because of the way he's dressed deposits hundreds and hundreds of ballots into that box? What do? Do they eliminate even the legal ballots that are in the box?
Yeah.
Or how do you separate them?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not secure because nobody's manning it, and people can break the law and cheat without any consequence.
Yeah.
So I think the board should answer that question.
They should,
How are these boxes secure for voting? Not for taking out ballots, but for depositing votes.
Yeah. You know, I've said this before. I'll say it again, Bill. They should just go back to one day, one vote, and those who get mail-in ballots are the handicapped or they're infirm or whatever. But this mail-in ballot thing has gotten way, way out of hand. And in part, we have Phil Murphy to thank for that. But it's just gotten out of hand. It's way too much.
It's not going to change this year. It's not going to change.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So what's the Board of Elections going to do? Every board should be asked and answer that question.
Yeah.
What are they going to do to secure the voting by Dropbox? Because it's not secure now.
Yeah, that is a very good question, and we will try to address that. We'll talk to Joe Girallo, our county clerk. Thanks for the call, Bill. We appreciate it. 609-407-1450. We have Andy and Brigantine and maybe you at 609-407-1450. It is Talk with a Purpose, and as always, boy, hour number 1 flies by. We're going to have some final thoughts in hour number 1 right after these words.
When it comes to you and your family's financial wellness, there are so many things to talk about. We could go on forever. To help guide you along the way, Joe Yakovich has written a book called The Heart of Your Money, Inspiration for Financial Wellness. In the book, Joe talks about longevity, inflation, retirement surprises, and many other topics. For your free copy of The Heart of Your Money, call the office of Joe Yakovich at JML Financial at 856-751-1771 or email Joe at jyakovich@brokersifs.com. For over 37 years, Joe Yakovich has been helping families throughout the area navigate the difficulties of a sound financial plan. You'll find Joe's approach to be different and not just the cookie-cutter methods that are prevalent in today's world. The path to your financial wellness and or retirement starts with a call to Joe Yakovich at JML Financial Group. 856-751-1771. 856-751-1771. Or email Joe at jyakovich@brokersifs.com. Joe Yakovich is registered with, and securities and investment advisory services are offered through Brokers International Financial Services, LLC. Member SIPC. Brokers International Financial Services, LLC is not an affiliated company.
Back here on Talk with a Purpose, 609-407-1450. That's our number here in the studio. Let's talk to Andy in Brigantine. Andy, good morning. Welcome.
Morning, John. It's a great day in Brigantine.
Yes, it is.
Not so much in Atlantic City.
That's true.
I mean, is it ever a great day in Atlantic City? I mean, let's be honest.
Yeah.
So, I missed much of your first hour, so I don't know what kinds of things you were talking about. But I'm sure you were talking about President Trump.
No, we were actually a rare day, Andy. We were talking about Craig Calloway, the guy who was accused many years ago of hiring a prostitute to get one of his political opponents, and we've been talking about that. So, no, we haven't talked about Trump.
All right. Yeah, well, I know about that story.
Yeah.
So, I guess you saw E. Jean Carroll celebrating on TV all the many ways she was going to spend Donald Trump's money.
Yeah.
Like buying Rachel Maddow a villa in France, or taking her fishing there, all these different things. So I got some things about that E. Jean Carroll case that I think you and your listeners might find fascinating. Before she accused Donald Trump of sexual assault, she previously accused a babysitter's boyfriend, a dentist, a camp counselor, an unnamed college date, an unnamed boss, and CBS chief Les Moonves of sexual assault or rape. So she figured if she accused enough people, eventually one would stick, right?
Yeah.
Now, George Conway, the, I guess, soon-to-be ex-husband of Kellyanne Conway,
yes,
who hates Trump. He hates Trump. He orchestrated the meeting and the eventual connection between E. Jean Carroll and the attorney in the case, Roberta Kaplan. Okay? He put them together. Roberta Kaplan once worked at a law firm with the same guy who was the judge in the case, Lewis Kaplan, no relation. She was actually mentored by this judge when they worked together at this law firm, okay? Now, despite the fact that the statute of limitations of this alleged crime had expired, Kathy Hochul, the governor of New York, changed the law so that Donald Trump specifically could be prosecuted, so the case could go ahead, all right? Guess who funded this case? Reid Hoffman. Reid Hoffman is a Democrat mega donor who also happens to be one of the biggest funders of Nikki Haley's campaign.
Whoa.
I mean, it gets better and better. Now, Roberta Kaplan, the attorney for E. Jean Carroll, she was formerly the chairwoman of an organization called Time's Up, an organization created by a group of Hollywood women to fight sexual abuse. This is Roberta Kaplan now, the attorney for E. Jean Carroll. She was the co-founder of that organization's legal defense fund, but she was forced to resign from that organization when it was discovered that she had legal ties to Andrew Cuomo, and that she was involved in an effort to discredit some of the people who were accusing him of sexual assault. So she only goes after people accused of sexual assault if they're Republicans, not Democrats.
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, you add all these things together, and you wonder why Donald Trump can't get a fair trial. Of course, they had the trial in New York.
Yeah.
Now, did you hear the latest about Fannie Willis?
No. But
Well,
you
so
tell us.
Fannie Willis, in 2020, when she was campaigning for her DA job, okay, she said, quote, "I will certainly not be choosing to date people that work under me." She said, "We're at a place in society where things happen in people's relationships, husbands and wives, sometimes they're outside relationships." She said, "I don't think that's what the community is concerned about, although there might be a moral thing about that." She said, "I think what citizens are really concerned about is if you have inappropriate contact with your employees." So she promised she would never sleep with anybody who worked with her or for her or under her, which is exactly what she did. And now she admitted it last night. She admitted that she was sleeping around with this Wade, what the hell's his name? Wade, I forget his last name.
Yeah.
The guy that she hired to go after Trump. So, you know, she runs on not dating people who work under me. That's exactly what she did. I'm seeing a pattern here, this corruption. I think these cases are starting to fall apart. You know, if the Fannie Willis case falls apart, that's like the big one.
Yeah.
That's the Georgia case. That's the big one.
Yeah.
Let me leave you with this, John. This was Gavin Newsom. He was on with Alex Wagner on MSNBC this past weekend. She brought up him possibly running for president, Gavin Newsom. This is his quote: "No chance. Who in their mind would want to run when you have someone of such esteem as our incumbent president of the United States, with a record of accomplishment and a man of character, a man of decency?" I mean, you wonder how Gavin Newsom didn't just spontaneously explode.
Oh, man. Andy, we got to run because we're up against the clock. Thanks a lot for the call. Oh, you can't make this stuff up. It's reality radio. What can I tell you? Talk with a Purpose is the show. Saturdays 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. Hour number 1 already is in the books. And what does that mean? Hour number 2 is on the way. You know what we say, don't go away.
WPGG Atlantic City, WENJ HD3 Millville, a Town Square media station. Everything you need to know in 6 minutes. WPG Talk Radio 95.5 presents Talk with a Purpose. Join the conversation by calling 609-407-1450. Now the host of Talk with a Purpose, John DeMasi.
Hour number 2, Talk with a Purpose, every Saturday 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. Good to have you with us. I'm John DeMasi. As I said, nice to have your company here every Saturday as we get together for our little coffee clutch here. 609-407-1450. We're going to get to your calls in just a moment. Bob and then Frank and then maybe you. 609-407-1450. I wanted to talk about this smoking ban in the casinos, or the impending smoking ban. And the ban has moved forward. The status is the smoking ban bill has passed through the Health, Human Services, and Senior Citizens Committee. The committee has passed the bill which closes the non-smoking loophole that exempted casinos, meaning it can now be sent to the full Senate for a vote. It could also be referred to the Senate's Committee on Tourism and Gaming. State Senator Vince Palestina, he said he would be introducing his own bill that allows for enclosed smoking rooms. So there's a couple of things here, a couple different bills. But here's what I wanted to say about this. You know, the surveys are saying that 74% of people in New Jersey and Pennsylvania would be more likely to visit Atlantic City casinos if they were to operate smoke-free. Now, again, I'm going to put my marketing hat on, my advertising hat. You mean to tell me that the casinos are fighting this bill? And they're saying, oh, well, we got to, we may have to close 3 casinos. They're always the boy who cried wolf. Every time something comes up they don't like, oh, well, we may have to close. Well, yeah, okay. We've been seeing the revenues that you're generating. You going to close? No, I don't think so. So, here's what I want in this hour. I just want your opinion. Should the casino smoking ban become law? And do you think it would hurt or help the casinos? That's really what I want to know. But I think it's a no-brainer. They did a survey. 74% of the people. That's 3 out of 4. What more do they need? You want business? Okay. And you've got plenty of competition. You've got, 4, 5, 6 casinos in Pennsylvania, in Philadelphia alone. And in Pennsylvania, there's one in the Poconos, They're all over the place. They're in Maryland. They're everywhere. And you've got competition. So let's face it. Wake up, Atlantic City. The smoking ban will help. 609-407-1450. Bob is in Florida. Oh, don't we wish we were there, Bob?
Well, John, it's been a rainy, cool winter, but today's a gorgeous day. It's going to be in the low 70s and crystal clear skies.
Okay, rub it in.
It's been, from what I hear, it's bent a pretty mild winter.
Yeah, it has.
Up there
it has.
too,
But you're still in Florida, so.
And I'll tell you though, John, Florida's gotten so crowded because people want to come here because taxes are low. There's no crime. You have an absolutely great governor who's responsible for a lot of that. But you know what? The traffic has gotten to be a real mess. It's not like it used to be. The crowds, the beaches, it's not like it used to be.
Yeah.
Nothing is, right? Nothing is in life. But, John, I want to defend Seth Grossman. Now, I'll tell you, I've known Seth for close to 25 years, and he's been right on issue after issue that is destroying the state of New Jersey. If you want to know why New Jersey is a basket case, Seth Grossman will give you the definitive answers. We have the highest tax rates in the country. We've got one of the worst balance sheets in the country. We're dead last for a business-friendly environment.
Yeah.
And look, and Seth saw the fraud before almost any of us did in the Republican conservative area in New Jersey, right? He saw the fraud. The fraud was Chris Christie. Seth had the courage to run against him for governor when Chris Christie was at the height of his national popularity.
Yeah.
Seth saw that. And you have to give Seth credit. Now, I'll tell you, Seth, nobody's perfect, and nobody's perfect. Seth, his motivation is to make New Jersey a better state for generations to come. That's his sole motivation. At his age, he could be retired down in Florida very comfortably. But, he's trying to make our state a better state, and it's not just that his intentions are good, because a lot of these liberal whack jobs that have control of our state, they probably have good intentions, but they're totally wrong.
Yeah.
The difference is Seth is right. Now, getting to the specifics of Craig Callaway, is he irredeemable forever? One. Two, I think Seth brought Craig Callaway in to be a guest speaker because as conservatives, as Republicans, we need to know what the other side is doing to win these elections that they shouldn't be winning.
Yeah, yeah.
And the Craig Callaway was on the forefront way before the rest of the Democrat communists picked up on it in terms of these mail-in ballots. If all the Trump supporters out there, if you want to have any reason why Trump lost to a senile zombie in the last presidential election, it's mail-in ballots. The Democrat Party engineered the acceptance of universal mail-in ballots. And if we're not going to listen to a guy like Craig Calloway, who knows exactly what the game is here, not just from the standpoint of let's have our side do it until this becomes illegal, until we win elections so we can make it illegal. We need to know what they're doing. We need to know how they're doing it. And maybe we could put an end to this fraud. So again, that's Seth's motivation, and Seth can come on next week if I'm misstating his motivation. He ought to, I'm sure he'll say it. I'm very confident that is his motivation. It is not to glorify what Craig Calloway did years ago. It's to educate the conservatives in our area.
I said that. I said he's using this as a teaching moment. But on the other side, Bob, when it comes to something like this, and an organization that talks about, all of the things that they talk about, the fact that you bring in a guy like Craig Calloway is a bad look. That's just, that's just goes without saying. So,
John, okay. But look, I'll tell you, Craig Calloway, he flipped sides in 2018. I guess it was 2020 when Jeff Van Drew had a really rough re-election campaign because huge money against them. The Kennedy name. Craig Calloway. I defend Jeff Van Drew's hiring of Craig Calloway, and we don't know. I mean, it probably didn't swing the election, but I absolutely think Jeff did the right thing. And give Craig Calloway credit. He came over to the right side. Give him credit for that.
Well, that I will do, but again, Bob, if you have an organization and you want a clean look, you just really got to be careful when you hire a guy like Craig Calloway. And look, this thing, it's come out now. He was arrested, so it's just a bad look. That's all I say.
I know, John. You know who else was arrested recently? Probably the Republican nominee for president. Okay.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? I mean.
Yeah.
So, and Craig Calloway, I'll tell you what, I bet you there are some really nasty people on the Democrat side that are very pissed off at Craig Calloway for flipping sides to Van Drew.
Yeah.
I bet you they're after him. So who knows? I mean, I look, again, the point I want to make is that Craig Calloway hasn't been put on the board of Liberty Prosperity.
No.
He's not a member. So I understand what you're saying, John, but let's not bury Seth.
Oh no, I didn't. I just
I know you didn't.
Yeah.
I know you didn't. I know. I'm referring to the other caller.
Yeah.
The other caller. I guess it was Frank. And I'm not dismissing what Frank says. Okay, but let's just look at Seth's body of work. It's been tremendous.
Oh, that's
really
true. That's true. Bob, as always, thanks for the call. Oh well, we can talk about this forever. Frank is in Ventnor. Frank, good morning.
Hey, good morning, John. You got two Franks today.
Yeah, how about that?
Hey, John, we learned a new skill from Seth Grossman. He's very good at tap dancing. I think that's for sure. That's for sure. hey, John, I want to talk a little bit more about what Calloway was arrested for doing. Part of what he did was legal, but the other part is illegal, which makes the whole thing illegal.
Yeah.
He hired messengers and they would take these valid applications. So it's a two-step process. He would take these messengers. They would take these valid applications, and as your earlier caller said, I believe you're allowed to do 3 or 4. So that part, these messengers went to the county clerk. They turned in these 3 or 4 applications for voting, and they received real applications back, right? So they received back 4 applications. But they received back 4 valid ballots,
right?
Unmarked ballots.
Right.
The law says you must deliver those ballots to the people, but they were delivered to Craig Calloway. That's what the charge is.
Oh.
So he legally, the first part was okay. He got people to deliver applications, but then when they got the real ballots, the illegal part is delivering them to Craig Calloway. That's where the illegal. And I even recall Seth seemed to be bragging about this. Well, Craig would hold on to ballots and deliver them at the end. That's illegal. You can't. They have to be. He can't. Calloway can't deliver the ballot.
In other words,
have to go back to the people.
That's right. So
applied for them.
So each individual who gets the ballots, then they have to deliver them.
Correct.
All right. Okay.
Correct. Now you could also. There could be a part 2 where you can then have a messenger deliver the ballots, but they would have to deliver it to a polling place, not to Craig Calloway. No way can you have a ballot delivered to Craig Calloway, right? They have to first go to the person who gets the legitimate ballot. Then if they want to have a messenger deliver that, it goes to the polling place. It does to the ballot drop-off. It doesn't go back to Craig Calloway. That's where the crime is.
Oh, so how does Craig Calloway get 400 ballots?
Well, I don't know how many exactly he got. He was the way the story says he would hire people like for $30 a messenger, and each of these messengers would be in charge of 4 ballots. So he would have to spend money to hire all these. Assuming he did it legally, he could only hire 1 messenger per 4 ballots. Let's say.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So you would have to. It cost money. That's assuming that there wasn't any cheating going on and the same messenger going back multiple times.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's a little bit tricky, but the crime comes down to having legitimate ballots delivered to Craig Calloway. That's where the crime comes
and that's the crime.
If it's true. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
And it's also ironic that I think that Jeff Van Drew was questioning the 2020 election about voting irregularities, and then he hired Craig Calloway.
Yeah.
I mean, should we question his, did he really win legitimately, right? The same thing he was saying about Biden, should we question his winning because he hired Craig Calloway, who committed voter fraud.
Yeah. I mean, if it were me and I was running for office, I wouldn't hire Craig Calloway for anything, for any amount of money. I wouldn't hire him. But that's me.
Yeah.
But
and John, I think it is sad what the other the other Frank said. I mean, it's the credit. It makes, and you said it also, it makes Seth's group look very bad.
Yes.
No matter how much he tap dances around it, it looks very, very bad.
Yeah.
He should rethink this.
I said the same thing. I mean, you've got an organization pretty much where he's got a pristine record. I mean, and what he does is really good for everybody. That's what I think. Or else I wouldn't have him on the show. So it doesn't make sense. You do all of those things right, and then you want to teach people that this is what this guy did and how he worked with the system. It doesn't make sense because the guy's a crook. That's plain and simple. I can't say it any simpler than that. So
exactly.
Yeah.
John hit one more point. He wasn't working within the system. He was doing something illegal.
Yeah.
He was doing it, as Seth makes it sound, he was just, kind of, working the system. He wasn't working the system. He was doing something illegal. If what they say is true.
Yeah. That's true. Frank, I'll look forward to your report. later on today. Thank you for the call, Frank. Appreciate it. Talk with a Purpose is the show. Saturdays 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. And I'm John DeMasi. We'll talk to Greg and we'll talk to Linda. And maybe we'll talk to you after the break at 609-407-1450. I'm John DeMasi. We'll get back to more Talk with a Purpose in just a moment. But first, we want to talk about something that's not controversial, that pretty much everybody agrees with, that it is one of the finest automobiles on the market today, consistently rated by all these consumer organizations as number 2 or number 3 or number 1, but it's up there, okay? I'm talking about Lexus, courtesy of Lexus of Atlantic City, 3169 Fire Road in EHT. And I told you about my experience maybe about a month ago. I went in there and, the numbers just didn't work for getting a new car. So, I bought the car that I had. And there was no pressure. There was no hype. There was no, you get the TO guy. He's the takeover guy. He's in charge of the closing the deal when the salesman can't close the deal. Well, they don't do any of that stuff. It's just the car sells itself, the dealership sells itself, and that's really all there is to it. Lexus of Atlantic City, 3169 Fire Road, EHT. Online at aclexus.com, aclexus.com. You want to look at a good car? You want to look at Lexus, courtesy of Lexus of Atlantic City. Stop by today. It's a, fairly mild day, so it's a good day to look at a new car or a pre-owned vehicle, whatever. They have them all. Lexus of Atlantic City, 3169 Fire Road, EHT. Online at aclexus.com. We're coming back with more of Talk with a Purpose in just a moment.
I'm Seth Grossman for libertyandprosperity.com. Everyone who lives near the ocean or the bay knows that we have a bad storm and flooding about every 20 years. Some people want their shore houses built on pilings. However, others like me would rather pay for major repairs and improvements every 20 years than walk up and down an extra set of steps every day. At one time, Americans were free to decide what kind of house we lived in, but not anymore. If you live in any shore town from Brigantine to Cape May, you may not get a permit for new bathrooms or a new kitchen unless you first spend another $75,000 to raise your house 14 feet off the ground. Learn the details and what we can do about it. Visit libertyandprosperity.com. Help us reach more people. Join our weekly breakfast. Donate what you can to keep us on the air and online. libertyandprosperity.com.
You're invited to attend a very important and informative seminar Tuesday, February 6th and Tuesday, February 13th at 6 p.m. at the Stockton University Campus Center, Meeting Room 5. The seminar will feature Joe Yankovich, host of The Heart of Your Money, heard right here on WPG Talk Radio 95.5. Joe will discuss tax management and income strategies in retirement, and of course, will answer any and all of your questions. Stay informed and up to date. Attend this important seminar Tuesday, February 6th and Tuesday, February 13th at 6 p.m. at the Stockton University Campus Center, Meeting Room 5. You can register online. Simply go to jmlfinancialgroup.com and click on the link. See you at the seminar.
We are back here on Talk with a Purpose. We are now in the 21st century, and we have really moved up in the world. If you want to listen to any of our shows at any time, this is the radio version of On Demand. And what you do is you Google John DeMasi Podcasts, and all of the shows come up. It's amazing. It's like over 200 shows, and you can pick out any one of them and just listen, and hey, you get the show. John DeMasi Podcast, that's what you Google, and they all come up. It's that simple, and you can listen at any time. It is Talk with a Purpose, Saturdays 9 till noon, WPG, Talk Radio 95.5. Let's talk to Greg and Absecon. Greg, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. DeMasi. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
The lock boxes. I don't know why they just don't put a timer on top of them where you have to time it when you bring it, and then there's a camera staring at you.
Yeah.
I mean, it would validate every ballot is putting into the box.
Yeah.
You know, and then it would have a time. And if the guy stands there putting 20 of them in, they're just stamped Boyd. You know, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
The other thing, the day will come. AI is given such a bad rap that everything it is, it's going to be used for bad.
Yeah.
What about a car that talks to you and tells you how you're driving too fast and you're weaving? I just issued you 2 tickets. Yeah, what the hell are you talking about?
Yeah.
It looms in our future. It will happen.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
The thing is, the ballot machines. Don't you touch me. You touch that screw again, I'm going to close myself down. You can't play with them. In other words, you do exactly what it's telling you to do. And it's no longer confusing what I have to do.
Yeah.
The machine will tell you. Touch button A or B. It looms in our future.
Oh.
Have a good one.
You too, Greg. Thanks for the call. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, it's coming. It's coming. Linda and Absecon. Linda, good morning. Welcome.
Well, good morning, John.
Good morning.
I sound like Craig, don't I?
No, you do. You
or Greg. It wasn't hello, John. So, John.
Yes.
I have a phone on. I don't know. The radio's on.
Yeah, you lower the radio. That's all.
Thank you. Progner's, your phone call was great. This guy, he really thinks 5, 6, 7 ways deep, and really impressive. Yeah, no, I guess you know that I like Craig.
Yeah, I know you
Galloway. No, you don't, until I just told you.
Well, I thought you meant the other Craig. Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah, well, I like both of them, too.
Okay.
Greg and Craig. No, Craig and my husband says he's effective. Now, how can I describe this? Because it really goes back, and Craig did not like prison. I believe he may have even shed tears. Prison was rough for him. I'm paraphrasing. He can correct anything. So, and I don't like ballot harvesting. And with what went on at the first time with Atlantic City, and maybe losing a freeholder here or there. No, I did not like it. I was at the freeholder meetings all the time. My husband and I and other people, I cared voters. We don't want you collecting votes. And Whalen comes along and so again, instead of I'm embellishing. Instead of being allowed to take 15, maybe you take 10. Well, 10? 10's a lot. You know, how about bringing it back to maybe 1 or 2? So anyway, Craig, this is how I recall it. And Seth Grossman is a good man. He purposes to be a real good man.
I agree with that. No, I agree with that.
And he is not careless or reckless. He purposes to be fair. And Craig at one time needed a lawyer. And Seth helped him out.
Congratulations.
And Seth is not, he wouldn't do anything untoward. He wouldn't do it. So just concerning Craig for a minute, I mean, do we know that he's, just let me say this. I can remember, Craig, I stand corrected if I'm wrong, if you're listening. I remember Craig may have even been in tears. He wanted out of jail. He didn't go to jail for ballot harvesting. It was a bribe up in the inlet, which Bill Gormley said, oh, how could you bring Kushner in? You know, that kind of talk was chatted up in the newspaper, and which Gormley did not like. And so anyway, you have the last place Craig wanted to go, would be back to jail. The last place. So, I mean, the man has to feed his family. The man has to work. So if anybody was going to do ballot harvesting, I would think the man would have that would have done it straight paper, really straight laced, would have been Craig Calloway. Don't like what you're doing, Craig. I don't like ballot harvesting. But if it was going to be done by the law, I would think it would be Craig Calloway doing it by the law. Now, people change, and I'm not saying he, maybe workers or so changed. I don't know. Maybe somehow this thing got lost and abused. But all of a sudden, nobody wants to know Craig Calloway. Why? I mean, Jeff Van Drew hired him. Jeff, you can't not know what the history of Atlantic City and Craig Calloway.
Yeah.
You can't not know it.
That's right. You can't.
But wait. No, that's not. I mean, talking about other things as far as ballot harvesting, with the new Craig Calloway after he had gotten out of prison, he was. No, do we know anything? I mean, is he being indicted? Has he been indicted?
Not that I know of.
Yeah,
not that I know of.
And so all of a sudden nobody really wants to know him, and he's persona non grata.
All I said,
everything.
Linda, all I said was for Seth
Grossman.
Grossman.
You nailed him.
I mean, just to hire him to speak at your organization is a bad look. That's all.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No, it wasn't. It was a brilliant look.
No.
I don't
think
just
so.
like that Trevor Loden was a brilliant look. No, it wasn't. Yes, Craig Calloway is an interesting, effective man who works for Republicans now, and prior to, and as well as Democrats. But they loved it when it was just Democrats that he worked for. So I'm saying all of this to say, I'm saying all of that to say this. I may look like a jerk in a couple months, but I am hard pressed to think Craig being out there doing something illegal.
Well,
well,
Linda, we disagree on a few things, but this is one of them.
But I mean, so is there any indications that, because I thought I read where the girl thinks she did something, but maybe she did. Now I'm really talking when I'm listening. So I mean, do we have another E. Jean Carroll type thing where things can't really be nailed down? The only thing that gets nailed down is a bad reputation put on the other party. So we'll have to find out.
We'll have to see. Linda, thank you for the call as always. 609-407-1450. Let's talk to Dan in Linwood. Dan, good morning. Welcome.
John, good morning. What I'm thinking is Liberty and Prosperity is a democratic, not a Democrat organization, but a democratic organization.
Yes.
Where somebody will probably be, and you were kind of leaning towards this a few minutes ago. Somebody's going to make a motion, and they're going to have a resolution, and they're going to have a vote.
Yeah.
And it's going to be overwhelming, and it's going to be the advice would be, when in doubt, change them out.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, if you were sitting in that chair in the organization and you had a vote, just based on what you said, I know which way you'd be voting.
That's right. That's right.
Everything is alleged, but the idea is, this is your fundraiser. Just say, look, we just, we're behind you 100%, due process, the whole thing, but we're going to have to make a change.
That's what I would have done. And I know it's only 2 weeks, but, they could have found somebody. I mean, anybody.
And as far as due process, before I go to my main point, would be this young lady, and she's 80 years old now, and she wants to go out with Rachel Maddow, and she's going to buy her a whole new wardrobe and buy the other girl a condo and do this and that. But my question is, if Kathy Hochul changed the law and says the statute of limitation is basically defunct in this case, and Trump will have to answer these charges. The question is this: if you are a real good lawyer, you have to, on appeal, you have to say, you don't know the year, you don't know the month, you don't know the date. So how could my client mount a defense? He could have been in Scotland.
Yeah.
He could have been in Florida.
Yeah.
How could he defend himself if you're not saying this is where it happened, this is the time it happened? That way he could check for video and everything else. But I don't think you could take a shot in the dark 20 years later.
Yeah.
Now, did we discuss the Law and Order episode?
Oh, that was up until 2 weeks ago. That was my favorite show. But when I saw this episode, I just couldn't believe it. I could not believe it. Maybe we should. You go ahead and you explain it. What the episode was about.
Well, I'm not sure we're talking about the same episode. Are we talking the one about Fannie Willis's comparison? Not Fannie Willis, I'm sorry, but the Jean Carroll. Are we talking about the comparison?
I think so. Her
favorite show was Law and Order, and there was an episode that did occur, set at a department store, Burdock Goodman.
Yes.
Set in the dressing room.
Yes.
Everything was set. Everything seemed to be set, and all of a sudden, years later, it comes back where it's basically, you're looking at the script according to Trump's people, which is, geez, that's a hell of a coincidence.
Yeah.
Especially when you can't tell me when the time it happened. Give me a clue. Get me somewhere in the area. When did it happen?
Yeah. Yeah.
And who did you tell? Give me any person. What would you do? Keep it a secret?
Yeah.
As garrulous as she is, and as outrageous as she is, she would be telling all her friends.
Yeah. Yeah. That's right.
I would think so.
Yeah.
John, my final point, and this is about Fannie Willis. There's more tinder now. A big log on the fire now. A whistleblower came forward, and she was fired. And her assertion was that Fannie Willis had another person that she appointed, and they had a big federal grant. I think it was $1.5 million, and it was probably purposed for inner city, some good work, a federal grant. And meanwhile, the money, according to the allegations, went to all bling and swag and all the other unnecessary things. And
right.
Money. This lady asserted that Fannie Willis basically and this other guy, without saying it, took the money. I mean, that's her assertion, and so she stepped forward and she figured she'd be a hero, and they fired her.
Yeah.
So this is an upside down world. Yeah. Joe Biden did it. Joe Biden did it again. He said his son died in Iraq, and a year after he served, he died in Iraq. But the truth was, when he came back, he was the Attorney General, and he died 6 years after that.
Yeah, that's right.
And he died with his family. He didn't come home in a flag draped coffin.
No.
And Bo would never have to apologize for his service because this man served in a combat theater. You don't have to enhance his record at all. He did enough for our country.
Yeah, he did.
But for his father to say that, he died because of this and all this stuff, he died in basically in a combat theater, or a year later, then the story keeps changing. Leave the man rest in peace. He's honorable. He served. He got a Bronze Star, and God love him. And what happened after that is, I guess, Hunter decided to basically go after his wife.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, you can't make this stuff up. Dan, thanks for the call. It's a soap opera, I should say. It is Talk with a Purpose every Saturday, 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. I'm John DeMasi. We have Joe and we have John, and maybe we'll have you at 609-407-1450. We will come back with more Talk with a Purpose in just a moment.
Chances are you've tasted the delicious fruits and vegetables from B.F. Mazzio, but didn't know it. That's because B.F. Mazzio has a huge wholesale division that delivers to area restaurants, schools, hospitals, and more. If you own a restaurant or run a commercial kitchen, call B.F. Mazzio's wholesale division at 609-641-6608. That's 609-641-6608. And don't forget B.F. Mazzio at 601 New Road in Northfield. Call 609-641-6608.
Joe Yakovich is registered with, and securities and investment advisory services are offered through Brokers International Financial Services, LLC. Member SIPC. Brokers International Financial Services, LLC is not an affiliated company. When it comes to you and your family's financial wellness, there are so many things to talk about. We could go on forever. To help guide you along the way, Joe Yakovich has written a book called The Heart of Your Money, Inspiration for Financial Wellness. In the book, Joe talks about longevity, inflation, retirement surprises, and many other topics. For your free copy of The Heart of Your Money, call the office of Joe Yakovich at JML Financial at 856-751-1771 or email Joe at jyakovich@brokersifs.com. For over 37 years, Joe Yakovich has been helping families throughout the area navigate the difficulties of a sound financial plan. You'll find Joe's approach to be different and not just the cookie-cutter methods that are prevalent in today's world. The path to your financial wellness and or retirement starts with a call to Joe Yakovich at JML Financial Group, 856-751-1771, 856-751-1771, or email Joe at jyakovich@brokersifs.com.
Your WPG Talk Radio 95.5 AccuWeather forecast for South Jersey. For this afternoon, breezy with periods of clouds and sunshine, high 45. Stars will be shining bright tonight under a clear sky. You might want a bundle, lows dipping to 25. Plenty of sunshine on tap for tomorrow. A nice end of the weekend with a high 48. When you get back at it Monday, plenty of sunshine with a high 45. I'm AccuWeather's Ruth O'Brien on WPG Talk Radio 95.5.
Back here on Talk with a Purpose, 609-407-1450. That's our number here in the studio, 609-407-1450. Let's talk to Joe in Smithville. Joe, good morning. Welcome.
Good morning, John. It's been a while.
Yeah. How you been?
I have been good. I'm calling you for the first time as a respected member of society, meaning I no longer have to check the box.
Okay.
After 32 years for 7 grams, I got a pardon from the governor of Pennsylvania in September, and it just happened Monday where it was expunged. I can go own a gun now. So, just wanted to share that news, which I'm very happy on.
Congratulations.
Yeah, I I'm going to actually start looking for a new job immediately. I have some plans in the works. But I wanted to address the smoking ban in the casino.
Good.
I hate smoking. I think it's nasty. I think it's horrible. I would love to see it go. But what the casino is going to do, what I believe the casino is going to do, they're going to use this to get rid of jobs. And they're already going towards AI automation for the support staff in the office. Meaning these systems are already being tested to take these jobs away. The computers can now do the job.
Jeez.
And let's go with casino auditing, the clerical positions, not the managerial ones, but the clerical ones. And obviously, you'll lose that. If they put this in, it's just going to fast forward it. And I really know what I'm talking about on that.
Well, I'm sure you've been close to the scene, but so you're for it or against it?
Oh, I want the smoking ban. I mean, but I absolutely. I think the smoking ban wouldn't hurt the casinos at all. But I think with the contract that they gave Local 54, that the prices that they're paying for the housekeepers and all that, they've been looking for savings ever since they did that.
Yeah.
And they had already been going towards this. And I just feel as though this will give them an opportunity to fast forward it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, they're always looking for ways to cut, that's for sure.
Yeah.
What business isn't, Yeah.
So one last thing I'd like to since I haven't called in a while, just want to address this Palestina Purdy Levinson thing.
Yeah.
After winter break, I was driving 2 cadets back to West Point. And I put that, I'm friends with Scott Cronick. He texted me a link to listen to it. I said, hey, guys, let's listen to this. Now, these kids are amazing kids, and I've known them for like 3 years. They've been in and out of my house. They usually come and stay for 3 days, and then I drive them back. The one kid's from North Carolina, others from Texas. Legacy appointments. The one girl grew up at West Point, to tell you the truth. She lived there for 8 years while she was young because of who her father is. If you saw, and when I say they never make a statement politically, either way. I know which way they lean because my daughter tells me, but they never. So they're listening to this, and I could see it on their face. They were just in shock, and she goes, "Are these both Republicans?" I said, "Yeah." She goes, "They shouldn't be doing this." I said, "Yeah."
Yeah.
Do you know that they're in their third class? What is it? They're in their third class, so they'll be going back to second class. If the war breaks out, they're going to be going to war right away. If it really goes bad.
Yeah.
And that's what they listen to. I felt actually bad making them listen to that. But do Palestina, Purdy, and Levinson think about what they're doing and what they're bringing? Yeah, you're helping some radio host sell some air conditioners and TVs or whatever he needs to sell for his job.
Yeah.
You're embarrassing the Republican Party. It's over with.
Yeah.
Think about that.
Yeah. It's a good point. Thanks for the call, Joe. Appreciate it. Good hearing from you again. John in Ocean City. John, good morning. Welcome.
Yes, good morning. I want to go back to a bygone era, pre-CNN Chris Cuomo, pre-MSDNC or MSLSD, take your pick, Rachel Maddow, pre-gossip columnist, my baddie, advice columnist E. Jean Carroll. Talking about the 1950s and 1960s. You had Adventures of Ozzie and Harriet. You had Leave It to Beaver. You had My Three Sons. Also, you had geared toward adults. You had The Honeymooners, and you had Steve Allen Show and Jack Benny. But it was all G-rated, Now, enter Lenny Bruce, the so-called potty mouth stand-up comic who came onto the scene in 1947, right after World War II. They actually say he's more than a potty mouth or a bad mouth comic, one of the foul mouth comics that first come onto the scene. Actually, they say his social commentary and satire, brand of satire, is likened unto Jonathan Swift, the Anglo-Irish satirist of the 17th century in England. So actually, he was he's not given the credit he's due. He's more like a George Carlin would be more like a Lenny Bruce. But anyway. He had famously said that there's the world that should be, and there's the world that is. And the world that should be, he mentioned all those programs I mentioned. He says that's the way it should be. That's not the way it is. That's not the world that I know. And now this E. Jean Carroll, she says, how come she screamed rape in 2023 and not back in 1995, supposedly when she was raped? And Bergdorf Goodman, a posh upscale clothing store in Manhattan. She didn't scream rape then, but all of a sudden now she's screaming rape. Well, she says she was prim and proper, brought up in the 1940s. Now, she was a little girl in the 1940s. She came of age, actually, in the 1960s. Now, she's in her young 20s when Cream came out with their first psychedelic acid rock album, Pure Cream, Fresh Cream, rather. And also you had the first really psychedelic album was actually the Beatles Revolver album in 1965. So she didn't grow up in the Victorian age. The woman's full of crap. So that's what I have to say about that piece of work, E. Jean Carroll. But now she's going to sue President Trump for rape, and it's not even been proven. So what, for defamatory statements? That's anti-free speech as far as I'm concerned. And it's just we're definitely going in a bad direction here. And, we have to go into the voting booth, but, if our vote's going to be sabotaged, it's like a broken record or a magpie, right? But anyway, you don't see that there was voter fraud in 2020. I don't know what to tell you. But constitutional laws were changed in state constitutions. You had ballot harvesting. You had mail-in ballots that were found in landfills and dumpsters that were all for President Trump. If anybody can't see that that's voter fraud, I don't know what to say. The left plays dirty pool like no other. So, we need to up our game. Thanks for letting me call in.
Thanks, John. Thanks for the call. 609-407-1450. That's our number here in the studio, 609-407-1450. It is Talk with a Purpose every Saturday, 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. Want your opinion on this. We got a call about that, but what do you think? Should the casino smoking ban become law, and do you think it would hurt or help the casinos? What's your thoughts? The survey says, or a recent survey says, sound like the late Richard Dawson. Survey said. The survey did say 74% of people in New Jersey and Pennsylvania would be more likely to visit Atlantic City casinos if they were to operate smoke-free. What does that tell you? 3 out of 4 people. Hey, if I'm running a casino, I'm all for it. So we'll talk about that. And, I'll tell you about the Turnpike and the Parkway. Yeah, okay. Don't want to tell you, but it's happening, and sooner than we think. So we'll talk about that and maybe some Trump things. 609-407-1450. I'm John DeMasi. More of hour number 2, kind of wrapping up hour number 2 after these words.
When it comes to you and your family's financial wellness, there are so many things to talk about. We could go on forever. To help guide you along the way, Joe Yakovich has written a book called The Heart of Your Money, Inspiration for Financial Wellness. In the book, Joe talks about longevity, inflation, retirement surprises, and many other topics. For your free copy of The Heart of Your Money, call the office of Joe Yakovich at JML Financial at 856-751-1771 or email Joe at jyakovich@brokersifs.com. For over 37 years, Joe Yakovich has been helping families throughout the area navigate the difficulties of a sound financial plan. You'll find Joe's approach to be different and not just the cookie-cutter methods that are prevalent in today's world. The path to your financial wellness and or retirement starts with a call to Joe Yakovich at JML Financial Group. 856-751-1771. 856-751-1771. Or email Joe at jyakovich@brokersifs.com. Joe Yakovich is registered with and securities and investment advisory services are offered through Brokers International Financial Services, LLC. Member SIPC. Brokers International Financial Services, LLC is not an affiliated company.
Back here on Talk with a Purpose, if you want to email me during the week, jdadv1@comcast.net. jdadv1@comcast.net. And you can also like us on Facebook at Talk with a Purpose. At Talk with a Purpose is our Facebook address. And it is Talk with a Purpose every Saturday, 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. Let's talk to DJ in Summers Point. DJ, how you doing this morning?
I'm doing good, John. How you been?
Okay.
Yeah, I was listening early this morning and about Mr. Calloway.
Yeah.
Well, the thing you got to keep in mind is Seth Grossman's a very good man, but he's also, his profession is a lawyer.
Yeah.
Which I've dealt with lawyers during my career. And they get paid to spin it.
Yeah.
Way where, hey, what I'm saying is good. What I did is good. Whether he's representing himself or as a defendant. They always got to spin.
Yeah.
I can remember me and him having a disagreement on those 2 guys, Georgia, that killed that young black kid.
Yeah.
It was in the house under construction.
Yeah.
And he was laying out this perfect defense for this 2 guys.
Yes.
Well, that turned out, the jury, I think, was out 13 minutes before they came back and convicted those 2 clowns.
Yeah.
But that's what lawyers do.
Yes.
All right. And Calloway, listen to this thing. I don't know if it was mentioned in the beginning. I think Linda touched on it real quick. Calloway, he set up the Robinson, of course, and he pled guilty. But his real crime back then was, do you know what his real crime was?
No, I really don't know.
He went to prison for a pretty long time by Jersey standards. He took bribes, and it was $36,000.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, see, people don't, it's like Paul Harvey, the rest of the story.
Yeah.
You remember him, right?
Yeah.
But that was what he did. And then, of course, this other thing came to light. And Robinson wouldn't be bullied because he turned Calloway in and said, hey, these guys are shaking me down.
Yeah.
But that's, so, the people are saying, well, hey, what are you doing, Mr. Grossman, bringing him in to speak? They got a legitimate complaint.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to call and mention it. He took $36,000 in bribes. He rose through the ranks and politically, and he got elected to council and all that, and he could have had a bright future, but they waved some money under his nose, and he took it.
Yeah.
And it's simple.
Yeah.
Now, I'm currently down, fortunately, I'm like Bob, but I'm on the East Coast.
Okay. Okay. Well, we have representatives on both coasts of Florida. Okay.
That's correct. And again, it's a beautiful day today. It might get in the low 70s. But the weather has been not great, not terrible, somewhere in the middle. But anyway, smoking. This thing's been going on for years.
Yeah.
Well, I'm down here. Fortunately, my wife and I visit a casino at Coconut Creek, which is a few miles from Palm Beach Gardens, about a half hour. They have, and I mention this because Palestina, I think, has a bill.
Yes, he does.
Separate places to smoke.
Yes.
Inside the casino.
Yes.
There's one casino down here, and I think there's also up in the Tampa area. They have separate sections. One is smoking, and the other is non-smoking. Separated.
How are you?
And business goes on. And it's funny. I went into the non-smoking part of the casino, and there was not as many people.
Yeah.
As is the smoking section.
Yeah.
Because some people don't care. They want certain machines, they're going to go play those machines. I don't care if it's smoking or non-smoking. But that's just a thought. The casinos have the capabilities to work something out where they can have a smoke-free environment inside their thing. You don't have to go out on the boardwalk or go in the park.
Yeah. That's what the Palestina bill is about, creating a separate room. Yeah.
Hey, gang, work something out. Okay? And that percentage, she said 73 or 74, I'd just like to know under what circumstances, who do they talk to?
I don't know. It didn't say.
People come to Atlantic City for just not only the gambling, for the shows and the dining and all that.
Yeah.
I just don't know.
Yeah. Well, I go for the shows, not the gambling, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah. It's still a great entertainment.
Yeah.
And Philadelphia does not have the entertainment that Atlantic City has.
That's right.
Every once in a while, you'll see an entertainer up there that, maybe past their prime.
Yeah.
But the people you get in Atlantic City, are current, right, and really draw.
Yeah.
You can fill up the place.
Oh, yeah.
So it will be interesting to see, what happens.
Yeah.
But there's probably going to be some changes.
Yeah, that's for sure. That's for sure.
Oh, and Frank Gifford, he was a little bit slandered this morning, and I'm bringing up Frank Gifford. Frank Gifford was smart enough to realize, hey, I made a mistake. I'm sorry. I'm a big boy. I shouldn't have gotten trapped like I did.
Yeah.
And he was more respected for admitting that he did wrong. And the bottom line is, him and Kathy Lee remained married until he died.
That's right. That's right. I do remember. I remember that. Yeah. DJ, as always, thanks for the call. Appreciate it. 609-407-1450. Hour number 2 is rapidly coming to a close. Hour number 3 is on the way. We're going to start hour number 3 with Al in Corbin City and maybe you at 609-407-1450. It is Talk with a Purpose every Saturday, 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. I will let you in on this little secret. Oh, it's not a secret. Don't look now, but things are going up in Murphyland, otherwise known as the state of New Jersey. The Turnpike and Parkway tolls are going up. Boy, oh boy. Murphy did an about face on this thing. In October, he rejected the proposed budget, but then he did an about face, so now it's going to happen. Tolls will increase 3% on the Turnpike and Parkway effective March 1st. Aren't you excited about that? We end on that note. Hour number 2 is in the books. Hour number 3 is on the way, and we look forward to your participation. We'll talk about a lot of things, and maybe we'll talk about Trump for a change. Talk with a purpose. Hour number 2 in the books. Hour number 3 on the way. Don't go away.
WPGG Atlantic City, WENJ HD3 Millville, a Town Square media station. Everything you need to know in 6 minutes starts now.
5.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5 presents Talk with a Purpose. Join the conversation by calling 609-407-1450. Now the host of Talk with a Purpose, John DeMasi.
Hour number 3, Talk with a Purpose, every Saturday, 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. As always, the number in the studio, 609-407-1450. I'm John DeMasi. Good to have you with us. Got another hour of our fun get-together here. Let's talk to Al in Corbin City. Al, good morning. Welcome to Talk with a Purpose.
Good morning. How you doing? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I hear you.
Well, I'll just give you a hypothetical. I'm a Atlantic City policeman, chief of police, and we're going to go into the projects. I'm on the radio now telling them that we're going into projects because we know there's heroin being sold in this block. What do you think those heroin guys are going to do? They're going to leave.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah. So why would you tell Iran and their proxies what you're going to do and when you're going to do it?
Yeah.
I mean, this shows the total incompetence of the quote unquote adults in the room. I mean, it makes absolutely no sense. It almost makes as much sense as Murphy.
Yeah.
I mean, what I would like to say, and anybody who's listening to the radio, call his office and tell him that you're not happy about this. If we just take it. Every time they turn around, take some more money out of our pocket, we just take it.
Yeah.
Well, we got to sit there and stand up. I mean, we got to stand up to our government because they don't care about all these illegal aliens brought in. The things that are needed for our own people are being pushed aside. Look at Boston, where they're closing a center down so that they can put illegal aliens in there. And these kids are going to be running the streets. What do you think those kids might do? You think they might get in a little trouble?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Sounds like a very good, a very good idea to do that. But no, they go along with the president. Go along with the Democratic Party.
Yeah.
They're Democrats.
Yeah.
You know what? I am ashamed to say, at one time I was a Democrat. I am so glad that I woke up during Reagan's years. Okay.
Yeah.
And I've never looked back.
That's right.
And if we don't stand up, they're just gonna keep taking stuff from us, take our rights away from us. Look at Jersey. Try to get a pistol. How hard and how crazy it is.
Yeah.
Because you want to defend your house.
Yeah.
And we should have stand and deliver laws here. If somebody breaks into my house, I don't have to have some damn excuse to sit there and put him in the ground. We have to stand up. Call your assemblyman, call your congressman. Just let them know that we're tired of this. Call our senators, and especially call Murphy. I'd love to see if we could fill up his phone so bad that he can't even get all the phone calls because of people being mad about this parkway. And if you use the parkway every day to go back and forth to work. This is especially with what inflation is. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah.
I mean, you got gas tax, you get money from the federal government, and you can't run a highway that's basically been paid for? Give me a break. That's all I got to say. Have a nice day.
You too, Al. Thanks for the call. Well, it just goes to show you. I mean, 3% here, 2% there, 4% there. They just raise it, and because they can. I mean, really, Al makes a good point. But what are we going to do about it? Not use the road? That's probably out of the question. But it just goes on and on and on. Tom in Pleasantville. Tom, good morning. Welcome to Talk with a Purpose.
Good morning, John. We got a problem out there. We got a deterrence problem. We got a deterrence problem locally, nationally, worldview. It's when a crime is committed now in a lot of our cities, like with the atrocious, the egregious attack on the New York City cops the other day from 5, 6, a dozen illegal immigrants.
Yeah.
They get arrested, and they were let out before the officers were released from the hospital. Now, we have a deterrence problem. We don't deter the criminals out there. Alvin Bragg's, whether it's Krasner in Philly, you commit a crime. Okay, all right, no bail, get it back out there. There's no deterrence. The crap that happened over in Iraq or Iran and Syria last night with this so-called smoke and mirrors bombing campaign, letting Iran know, hey, look, we're going to be bombing just to let you know, get your people out. No deterrence. It's a philosophy that's really destroying the core of the American image.
Yeah,
and
that's true.
It's getting worse. John, it's a damn shame, my friend.
It is.
And that's all I really want to say today. But keep on doing and pray for the best.
I will. Thank you. Thanks for the call, Tom. And, it's funny he brought that up. I was having dinner with a couple friends the other night, and we got to talking about something. And I said, do you know that in Philadelphia, if you steal less than $500, you get a ticket? And my one friend said, are you kidding? I mean, because I pay attention to this stuff because of the show, of course. But, I mean, most people, it just kind of runs by them. He said to me, are you kidding? I said, no, I'm not kidding. In Philadelphia, if you steal less than $500, you get a ticket and you go home. So why wouldn't you steal? It's really ridiculous. It really is. John in Ocean City. John, good morning. Welcome back.
Yes, thank you. People are speculating on whom President Trump is going to choose as a running mate. And I've heard that just recently, I've been saying it for a year and a half, Bobby Kennedy Jr. has been, that name's been bandied about. And also Ben Carson or take your pick, or Kristi Noem from North Dakota. I think that's what her name is. Anyway, people are saying, should it be a female? Should it be a male? But the whole thing is that President Trump he's an unpredictable person. You don't know what he's going to do next. So would he be giving Iran a heads up on what he's going to do? I don't think so. And he certainly would have had the wall put up by now had he had a chance to. So the man had his hands tied behind his back, and he still got things accomplished. But all that being said, they say that the MAGA supporters are destroying our democracy. Actually, we're a constitutional republic, for one. And also, they forget to bring up the fact that it was the Biden administration that was behind blowing up 3 of the 4 Nord Stream pipelines belonging to a country that has the most powerful nuclear weapons on Earth, Russia. They don't bring that up. Or that there's actually Russian submarines off of our coast right now, about 200 miles, 198 miles off our coast right now. Or that they're building Huawei towers next to military installations, which can interfere with radar, all right, and the farmland that's nearby to these military installations that we have. Nobody's mentioning that. Or we have Chinese agents coming up over the southern border. They don't mention that. So our country's being destroyed by jokers who don't even who don't even need to be in office anyway. But if the left keeps on voting for these idiots, then I guess we're going to have to put up with it. I don't know. What's going to happen to our beautiful country? I don't know. But we have to make a stand somewhere. Thanks for letting me call in again.
Thanks, John. Thanks for the call. 609-407-1450 is the number here in the studio. Talk with a Purpose every Saturday, 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. And, of course, we're also heard on 1450 AM and always online at WPGTalkRadio.com. So a variety of ways to listen. 609-407-1450. Let's talk to Bob again in Florida. Bob, good morning.
Hi, John.
Yes.
Hey, look, I want to talk about the Parkway, okay, which you brought up. Okay?
Yeah.
So, and I brought this up probably a couple times through the years, but it's worth repeating. The Parkway tolls were supposed to be eliminated when the 40-year bond issue that was paid off around 2002 was liquidated, was finished. Okay, the deal was tolls get removed once this bond issue is finished. Okay. And what the politicians did in New Jersey, of course, instead of eliminating the tolls, eliminating the patronage jobs that all the toll takers had, they reissued a bond issue. Okay? Now, this is where it really gets interesting, and this is where the taxpayers and the voters of New Jersey, again, dropped the ball. So there was a candidate for governor who I was a big backer of that ran against the weasel, Jim McGreevey. And his name was Brett Schundler.
Yeah.
He was a Republican nominee who beat Donnie DeFrancesco in the primary. The Republican establishment hated it, did everything they could to torpedo Brett Schundler. But getting back to my point here, Brett Schundler was going to eliminate the tolls on the Garden State Parkway. And it made all the sense in the world, John, because, see, when you eliminate tolls, federal funding kicks in to the tune of about 70% of the expenses of the Garden State Parkway. All right?
Oh.
And, okay, all right. So the net benefit to the vast majority of people that use the Parkway are New Jersey residents. You know, people that live down the shore like us, we use it all the time.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So those tolls would have been eliminated. Federal funding would have picked up 70%, okay, of the expenses. So it would have cost the taxpayers virtually nothing. When you calculate the tolls that we pay all the time, you know, we would have been so much better off. Again, the patronage jobs were the reason why those tolls stayed in effect. And this was back in 2002 when I believe it was still 25 cents to go, you know, from all the way from Cape May to the mile 50 marker. Okay?
Yeah, yeah.
Now it's $2.10. It's just remarkable. They got to throw on the 10 cents, right?
Yeah.
They couldn't make it $2. They had to make it $2.10. So, you know, again, this is just illustrative of look, the voters, they do get what they vote for, and they voted for, they voted for Jim McGreevey.
Oh.
They voted for Phil Murphy.
Oh.
You know.
One's worse than the other.
They're horrible. They're just horrible.
McGreevey, oh, he was awful. And it has nothing to do with gay. I thought he was terrible. An awful governor. Yeah.
No, Brett Schundler knew the secret. You know, McGreevey got married. Okay, so this is a very gay guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, not a little gay, very gay. Okay, he his aunt stays at my motel. You know, so and they're ashamed of the guy, not because he's gay, but because he's a creep.
Yeah.
But anyway, he did this. I mean, we can't forget that he did this. He ruined a woman's life by marrying her. Okay, having a baby with her, all to cover his race for governor.
Yeah, that's right.
That's how what kind of a weasel this guy is.
Boy.
So, you know, and you know, we really pick winners in New Jersey.
I'll tell you,
we really do.
And there's a real winner. Of course, the guy in the office now is a winner too.
Oh well, yeah. I mean, I haven't seen recent photos of Phil Murphy. The makeover, I guess I hear it keeps getting better and better. Now,
yeah, it does.
This guy had gray hair. He was pretty balding. Teeth were a nightmare. I think Andy Cortman was observant enough to see that.
Yeah.
But now he could pose for GQ magazine.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got blonde hair again, full hair. Teeth are perfect. I guess he must have had Botox or facelift treatments, just like Biden. It's remarkable that these guys, Biden all of a sudden grows hair. Not too many. 80 years old and not too many wrinkles. How'd that happen?
Yeah.
So.
Well, when you have $60 million, Bob, you can spend it any way you want and not run out of money. So, I mean, you got a villa in Italy? I mean, come on.
Yeah, I mean, I know. See, the thing is, John, these elitists like, Murphy, what does a Parkway toll increase mean to him?
Nothing.
Okay? But
Nothing.
to the working people
That's
in
right.
New Jersey, when are they going to wake up?
Yeah.
Okay. That these elitist Democrats, they don't have your interest. They do not have your interest.
Not at all. Not at all. Bob, thanks for the call again. Appreciate it. 609-407-1450. We'll hold Bill and Brigantine. We'll talk to you after the break at 609-407-1450. I just wanted to mention, seems like we have all good news here today. I just wanted to mention, this is good news. For a change, someone else is getting impeached, or at least the House is trying to impeach Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas. This guy, he's clueless. The House Homeland Security Committee met on Tuesday over efforts to impeach Mayorkas. In a letter to the committee, Mayorkas writes, "We have provided Congress and the committee hours of testimony, thousands of documents, hundreds of briefings, and much more information. Yes, Mr. Mayorkas, you may have done all that, but the border is still open. There are thousands still coming over illegally. And what are you doing about it? That's the question." Representative Sheila Jackson, she is Sheila Jackson Lee. She's a Democrat from Texas. And she pointed out that Congress has never provided the resources to detain all undocumented migrants, and that all Homeland Security secretaries have had to use prosecutorial discretion to release some migrants. So, he's still not doing his job. We're still getting 10,000 a day coming across the border. How about simply shutting the border down? What do you think? Do you think that impeaching Mayorkas might help? I don't know. Just put somebody else in there. Who knows? It's just, how many battles can you fight? That's, we talked about fighting battles today, and we should call Murphy's office, blow up his phone, and do all this stuff. But how many can you fight? I mean, it's mind-boggling. Talk with a Purpose is the show, Saturdays 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. I'm John DeMasi. Bill is in Brigantine. We'll talk to him after the break, and maybe we'll talk to you. 609-407-1450, our number here in the studio. We'll come back with more Talk with a Purpose in just a moment.
Chances are you've tasted the delicious fruits and vegetables from B.F. Mazzio, but didn't know it. That's because B.F. Mazzio has a huge wholesale division that delivers to area restaurants, schools, hospitals, and more. If you own a restaurant or run a commercial kitchen, call B.F. Mazzio's wholesale division at 609-641-6608. That's 609-641-6608. And don't forget B.F. Mazzio at 601 New Road in Northfield. Call 609-641-6608.
Joe Yakovich is registered with and securities and investment advisory services are offered through Brokers International Financial Services, LLC. Member SIPC. Brokers International Financial Services, LLC is not an affiliated company. When it comes to you and your family's financial wellness, there are so many things to talk about. We could go on forever. To help guide you along the way, Joe Yakovich has written a book called The Heart of Your Money, Inspiration for Financial Wellness. In the book, Joe talks about longevity, inflation, retirement surprises, and many other topics. For your free copy of The Heart of Your Money, call the office of Joe Yakovich at JML Financial at 856-751-1771 or email Joe at jyakovich@brokersifs.com. For over 37 years, Joe Yakovich has been helping families throughout the area navigate the difficulties of a sound financial plan. You'll find Joe's approach to be different and not just the cookie-cutter methods that are prevalent in today's world. The path to your financial wellness and or retirement starts with a call to Joe Yakovich at JML Financial Group. 856-751-1771. 856-751-1771. Or email Joe at jyakovich@brokersifs.com.
Back here on Talk with a Purpose, as we always say, we make it easy for you to listen to any of our shows at any time. We have the radio version of On Demand. And what you do is you Google John DeMasi Podcasts. And guess what? All of the shows come up. There are like 200 and some. I mean, it's a lot of shows. And I think about this. Did I do that many shows? I don't know. But you Google that and you'll get all the shows and you can listen to any one of them at any time. It's that simple. Talk with a Purpose is the show. Saturdays 9 till noon. WPG Talk Radio 95.5. Bill is in Brigantine. Bill, good morning.
Hey, John. How you doing?
How you doing?
Yeah, good. Back to the smoking ban.
Yes.
Austin is talking about the smoking rooms.
Yes.
But what you're leaving out is he wants to add table games inside the smoking rooms, which will be staffed by volunteers only, which will not happen. Nobody wants to be in the gas chamber, number one. But what happens is a lot of the people that I work with are part-time. They'll be scheduled 0 days, and they'll say, well, we have 5 days available, but it's in the smoking room. Do you want it? Take it or leave it.
Oh, I see.
But that's why everybody's against smoking rooms, because they're including table games.
Oh, I was wondering. I thought it was just like a room without gambling.
Not
No.
at all.
Oh, okay. So
a separate smoking area with table games included.
So are there any like casino workers that smoke?
I'm sure they do, but I'm sure a lot of smokers don't even like to be around secondhand smoke.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
You know.
So that's why the smoking rooms they're not in favor of that. Oh, okay.
Well, the only smoking room that they want to accept is the one outside the front door.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just like during COVID, same thing.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, just like those office buildings.
It's like at any bar and restaurant in New Jersey.
Yeah. Oh. Okay, Bill. Thanks for the call. So that clears up that bill. All right. Oh, just wanted you to know. I think Jack Ciattarelli is going to be the next governor of the state of New Jersey, but he does have some competition. State Senator John Bramnick. He is a Republican from Union County. He launched his campaign last week. Bramnick has consistently opposed Donald Trump, something that Ciattarelli has not done. And Bramnick says he is a moderate, bipartisan candidate. John Bramnick spent nearly 2 decades in the Assembly and Senate, and he opposed Trump for re-election. So we'll see. We will see about that. Just wanted to let you know Jack Ciattarelli has some competition. 609-407-1450. Ruth is in Summers Point. Ruth, good morning. Welcome to Talk with a Purpose.
Good morning, Mr. DeMasi. In answer to your question about Mayorkas,
yes,
I don't think that we need to impeach him for not closing the border because he's only doing what the president wants him to do.
Yeah.
But he should be impeached for lying to Congress.
Yeah.
Another cabinet member who should be impeached or fired is Lloyd Austin.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't care what excuse he made. I don't care what kind of cancer he had. We don't need to know what kind of cancer he had, but what we did need to know is that he was not on the job, and he should be fired for that. As a general in the Army, he should have known better. I'm sure so many of just privates in the Army lost their jobs for not revealing
That's right.
truths that they knew.
That's right.
And then the third cabinet member is Buttigieg.
Oh.
Within the first year of him being in the cabinet, he goes on a 3-month paternity leave.
Yeah.
I can't even understand. Was he home nursing his baby? I don't think so. So
Yeah.
there's 3 members of the cabinet
Boy, are they.
that should be impeached or fired for the things that they have done while in office.
Yeah, and Secretary Austin, he had the scare. It was New Year's Day. So, I mean, okay, you say New Year's Day, it's a holiday, but somebody should have called somebody within the administration, don't you think? I mean, and he would know more than anyone else, being a military guy, that procedure protocol is you tell your next in line that you are going to the hospital. That's it.
Yeah. And as far as I can see is when he made his speech the other day and he apologized, he said that his deputy administrator did know about that. Well, isn't that funny? If she knew about that, why was she in Puerto Rico?
Yeah.
So either he's a liar or she didn't care that she had been told she's in charge and she went on vacation anyway.
Yeah.
So one of them has a true problem, but impeachment means to me nothing compared to lying or neglect of duty.
Yeah. And did you like what he said to when he was before Congress? I've given you hours and hours of testimony and briefings, and so what? The border's still open. The border is still open.
Right.
So what are you doing?
And he maybe should have added to that. And I understand that the reason I got this position is because I was friends with Beau Biden.
Yeah, sure. Well, all of them. A lot of those positions are, political patronage jobs. It's just a way of life, And I don't necessarily mind that, but boy, some of the people are so incompetent. And
right.
You mentioned Buttigieg. Paternity leave. That's real. That's a good one. That's a good one. Ruth,
absolutely.
Ruth, thanks for the call. Thanks for providing us with some levity here on the show. We need it. Craig in Northfield. Craig is back. Good morning.
Well, to your caller, John, that just hung up, I hope she's still listening. Buttigieg was breastfeeding. He had an apparatus, actually. They have a picture of it.
Oh, my God. Jesus.
Yeah.
He what is it? Like I'm
just going to say this to you, John. We're living in an upside-down world here. The guy that was wearing the jockstrap in Senate chambers, did you hear what happened to him?
No.
Well, he's nothing.
Nothing?
So let's take nothing. So the guy with the jockstrap that's having sexual relations with somebody in the Senate chambers, nothing happens to, but somebody that puts their feet up on Congresswoman Pelosi's desk goes to jail for how many years?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Let's think about that for a second.
Yeah.
All right. So I do want to say one thing, because I don't think we really talked about this enough. Those cops in New York City,
Yeah.
I want to talk about that.
Yeah.
You know, we lost the rule of law here. And you see, when they get out, before the cops, get out of the hospital, we got a problem here.
That's right.
And then we're seeing a lot of index fingers being given out. That's just horrible. So here we have somebody that came into our country, is kicking our police. You really tried to give them the death kill. You know that, right?
Yeah.
Did you see that? So what was
I
their
didn't see it,
intention?
but I...
No, that's what he tried to do. He tried to kill that officer. Okay? Now, what should the officer done? He should have shot the son of a bitch. I
That's
can't
right.
say what I really want to say.
I know what you mean.
Okay. So, John, here, these cops got to worry about losing their pensions, their homes, for somebody that doesn't belong in this country. And mind you, that guy got free legal advice, and that guy that's kicking our cops is getting $7,000 a month from our United States government. Part of that is coming out of that cop's paycheck.
Jeez.
Okay. All right. So we're going to end up in a light note, how upside down this world is. But I want to bring up Carrie Lake because I brought her up so many times during this course, and she lost her election, and everybody thought, oh, my God, what she's bringing up, election fraud, everything she says could be wrong. But did you see the guy from the Republican Party in charge of the Republican Party down there in Arizona? That resigned?
No, I don't know who it was.
Well, let's go through that. Do you remember when she said, people wanted to pay me to leave this race? Remember she said that?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, people, the person in charge of the Republican Party was caught on tape because Carrie Lake was able to record him, and he resigned this week. Why? Because there's Carrie Lake saying, well, how much are you going to give me? 5 million, 10 million? Do you hear that, John?
Yeah.
And the conversation was continuing. And the guy says, well, there's powerful people in Washington that want you to sit this one out. Do you see what's going on in this country here?
Yeah.
All right. So I just want to say that between that, and then you had Curry left, the Green Deal, the carbon footprint czar. And who took over?
I didn't see that. Who?
None other than the old leader of the Democratic Party, Podesta, with those paintings in his home that look like 3D sexual performances of God knows what. Okay? And so if he's in charge of the Democratic Party, he's getting our green money. Don't you think that might be spread around? We might have more of those ballot drops.
Yeah.
And nobody brought up Zuckerberg this morning that had to apologize for the death of those children.
Yeah.
That man belongs in jail.
Yeah.
The parents should get to pick, what happens to him. And so I'm going to leave you with a little fun because we'll get back to football. I'll close out my little conversation. Taylor Swift and Kelsey, they're such a love affair, right?
Yeah.
Okay? And all the Democrats are so happy. You know that, right?
Yeah.
And don't anybody talk about Taylor Swift, boom, 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 what happened to you?
Yeah.
But you know what I'm noticing? Everybody's talking about how she's got to fly from Japan to Vegas.
Yeah.
Did you notice that?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Well, where's Senator Kerry and Podesta and Biden talking about the carbon footprint that she's going to leave? To see a man, to give him a kiss. I'll leave you with that, John.
Yeah, okay.
Have a good day.
Thank you, Craig. Thanks for the call. Do you believe that we have been reduced to talking about not the Super Bowl, not the teams, but Taylor Swift flying from Japan to Las Vegas the night before? Oh, where is our priorities? Oh, we're coming up on a break, and then we'll talk to Joe and Summers Point, and maybe we'll talk to you. Got a couple open lines, 609-407-1450. Hour number 3, we're kind of wrapping up here. Talk with a Purpose every Saturday, 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. I'm John DeMasi. We're coming back with more after these words.
If you're interested in driving one of the finest automobiles on the market today, then you'll want to check out all of the fabulous new and pre-owned Lexus at Lexus of Atlantic City. Lexus of Atlantic City, 3169 Fire Road in EHT. Driving a Lexus is like no other vehicle on the market. Test drive one for yourself at Lexus of Atlantic City. Whether it's new or pre-owned, you'll be more than satisfied. In fact, Lexus is consistently number one when it comes to customer satisfaction. Visit Lexus of Atlantic City, 3169 Fire Road in EHT. Or you can check out their outstanding selection of new, pre-owned, and L-certified pre-owned vehicles on their website, LexusOfAtlanticCity.com. That's LexusOfAtlanticCity.com. Or if you want more information, call 609-641-0008. Lexus of Atlantic City, now celebrating their 26th year in the area. A dealership that you'll enjoy. No pressure, no gimmicks, no hassle, no hype. Lexus of Atlantic City, 3169 Fire Road in EHT. And remember, always online at LexusOfAtlanticCity.com. You're invited to attend a very important and informative seminar Tuesday, February 6th and Tuesday, February 13th at 6 p.m. at the Stockton University Campus Center, Meeting Room 5. The seminar will feature Joe Yankovich, host of The Heart of Your Money, heard right here on WPG Talk Radio 95.5. Joe will discuss tax management and income strategies in retirement, and of course, will answer any and all of your questions. Stay informed and up to date. Attend this important seminar Tuesday, February 6th and Tuesday, February 13th at 6 p.m. at the Stockton University Campus Center, Meeting Room 5. You can register online. Simply go to jmlfinancialgroup.com and click on the link. See you at the seminar.
Your WPG Talk Radio 95.5 AccuWeather forecast for South Jersey. For this afternoon, breezy with periods of clouds and sunshine, high 45. Stars will be shining bright tonight under a clear sky. You might want a bundle, lows dipping to 25. Plenty of sunshine on tap for tomorrow. A nice end of the weekend with a high 48. When you get back at it Monday, plenty of sunshine with a high 45. I'm AccuWeather's Ruth O'Brien on WPG Talk Radio 95.5.
We are back here on Talk with a Purpose. Again, 609-407-1450. That's the number here in the studio, 609-407-1450. Joe is in Summers Point. Joe, good morning. Welcome.
Good morning. I put in over 50 years into Social Security. I got a 3% raise this year. The federal government gave, and the state takes it away.
Yeah.
I can't believe this. During COVID, I need my car registered, so I go to Egg Harbor Township, 5 miles away. They tell me, no, we can't do that here. And why not? Because Governor Murphy separated all of the different motor vehicles. You have to go to Deptford. Drive to Deptford. They said, oh, no, this is for boats and this and that. You're going to have to go to Manahawkin.
Jeez.
So I drive back down to Egg Harbor Township. And I told him, you gave me false information. The gentleman was nice. He set me up with an appointment over at Manahawkin. I went there and got that done. And the reason being is that we did down here in South Jersey did not vote for Governor Murphy. He was mad, so he decided to separate everything. So that being said, I've been up and down the Parkway millions of times. And as we drive through the toll booths, we're at a snapshot of what's going on, how many cars backed up and this and that. I want to know what they're doing with all this money. I mean, it's like just a little snapshot, and you got hundreds upon hundreds of cars coming through one toll booth. And it's just unbelievable. And not only that, but the registrations. Every year we got a new registration. That's a whole lot of money.
Oh, yeah.
A whole lot of money.
Most definitely.
And yet they're raising it again. So I get the 3%, and now we add on and he added on the money during COVID. I mean, everybody was hurting. Everybody's hurting now.
Yeah.
Going to the grocery store.
Yeah.
You go in there and get 5 or 6 items, it's $50 or more. You know?
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. Yeah. I just can't believe this.
Yeah. Well, I can't either. But, you know, it's not going to stop. I mean, how is it going to stop? You know,
Trump is in my pocket here. I'm voting for him.
Me too.
Me too. And I hope and I pray that he gets in. He messed up a couple of friends of mine during the casino times. I was pretty mad at him for doing that when he went bankrupt and all. But this gentleman, this businessman, learned a lot of lessons over the years. And the government is a business. And he knows the mistakes that he made, and he's learned by those mistakes.
That's right.
And the more that he helps the people, the more he looks good, and the more he looks good, the more he wants to help people.
That's
so
right.
It's a win-win situation. Right. And these people today do not believe that the government is a business. So,
well, it is.
That's all. Yes, big time.
Joe, thanks for the call. 609-407-1450. Couple of open lines if you want to jump in here at 609-407-1450. Well, this, I got to explain this to you. Biden is doing a couple of things to kind of mimic what Trump has been saying. But when you look behind the scenes, it's not really what it seems. And I'll explain this to you. President Biden supports a bipartisan deal that will attempt, keyword here, attempt to shut down the U.S.-Mexico border. That's good, right? The deal has been in the works for months. It seemed to be nearing completion in the Senate, but then it began to fall apart. Biden wants continued funding for Ukraine. Gee, that's a shock. But the Republicans aren't buying it. So it gets kind of complicated here. The border really wouldn't get shut down. Trade would continue. People who are citizens and legal residents could continue to go back and forth. The border would be shut on days illegal crossing reached more than 5,000 over a 5-day period. Are you kidding me? The border is currently seeing 10,000 per day crossing. So this means nothing. This bill means nothing. House Speaker Mike Johnson, of course, a Trump ally and critic of this proposed deal, has argued that presidents already have enough authority to stop illegal border crossings. So most likely that effort would be stopped by some courts. Congress needs to act. Speaker Johnson and House Republicans should provide the administration with the policy changes and funding they need. Who said that? None other than White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre. Boy, is she doesn't know what to say. She reads her notes, reading it out of a notebook. Prospects are dim for this bill getting passed. I don't have to tell you, the Biden policies so far have been a total failure. But can you imagine if they shut down the border with this proposed bill? They'll shut down the border if the illegal crossings go to over 5,000. But they're over that now. I do not understand this at all. What do you think? I think it's just more of a Biden, Biden does card tricks. Hey, now you see it, now you don't. More of the Biden way. Manipulation of the media and manipulation of policy. That's it. 609-407-1450. That's our number here in the studio. Again, 609-407-1450. Have you seen this? We really haven't talked about Trump at all today. But Trump and the Teamsters, are you ready for this? Stranger things have happened. Trump courted the Teamsters this week after he participated in a round table with the union's executive board. After the meeting, Trump called it a very productive meeting and acknowledged that the union normally backs Democrats, but as he said, stranger things have happened. Usually a Republican wouldn't get that endorsement, but as you know, he said, a big part of the voting bloc votes for me. The Teamsters vote for him? I don't know. Maybe they do. Listen, he can try, and maybe there are some Teamsters who are fed up with Biden policies and Biden inflation and all of that stuff. I don't know. We'll see about that. But what do you think? I mean, this whole thing about the border, this has been a problem for forever, it seems like. Border crossing, 10,000 a week. And that would be, what, 40, 50? And I said this a couple weeks ago. You could fill up a stadium in a month, maybe less. And illegal shooting cops in New York, I mean, this is ridiculous. What are we doing? It's just really, really ridiculous. That's one of the things we've talked about today. The other thing that we talked about, which this smoking ban in the casinos. A few people have said, yeah, we don't want it. But yet, if they don't want it, and 74% of the people surveyed said they would come to Atlantic City and visit the casinos if there were no smoking, but yet we don't have a smoking bill. What's the situation here? What's the story? Don't know. But they better resolve that soon. And then, of course, we have the casino executives. Oh, well, we can't have a complete smoking ban because we're going to have to close. Oh, boy. Yeah, the casinos are going to close, and I'm the tooth fairy, all right? Yeah, they'll close. We are coming up on our final break of the morning, which means you got some time if you want to jump in here and comment on anything we're talking about today. Talk with a Purpose is the show. Saturdays 9 till noon. WPG Talk Radio 95.5. 609-407-1450 is the number. 609-407-1450. I'm John DeMasi. We're coming back. Final thoughts on today's edition of Talk with a Purpose in just a moment.
When it comes to you and your family's financial wellness, there are so many things to talk about. We could go on forever. To help guide you along the way, Joe Yakovich has written a book called The Heart of Your Money, Inspiration for Financial Wellness. In the book, Joe talks about longevity, inflation, retirement surprises, and many other topics. For your free copy of The Heart of Your Money, call the office of Joe Yakovich at JML Financial at 856-751-1771 or email Joe at jyakovich@brokersifs.com. For over 37 years, Joe Yakovich has been helping families throughout the area navigate the difficulties of a sound financial plan. You'll find Joe's approach to be different and not just the cookie-cutter methods that are prevalent in today's world. The path to your financial wellness and or retirement starts with a call to Joe Yakovich at JML Financial Group, 856-751-1771, 856-751-1771, or email Joe at jyakovich@brokersifs.com. Joe Yakovich is registered with and securities and investment advisory services are offered through Brokers International Financial Services, LLC, member SIPC. Brokers International Financial Services, LLC is not an affiliated company.
And we are back here on Talk with a Purpose. Again, 609-407-1450. We had a lot on the table today, a lot to talk about, and we'll still continue to talk about here in our final few minutes of the show. Let's talk to Sarah. Sarah, good morning. Welcome to Talk with a Purpose.
Good morning. It does not take a rocket scientist to know that Donald Trump has been given the hatchet job.
Oh, yeah.
Those people that are putting charges against him are the same ones that are letting criminals free. Those ones who go to the stores with bags and fill them up and walk out, and they're not prosecuted.
Yeah.
You know, it's no rhyme or reason to allow pedophiles and all these drug dealers and so forth out free, which are more of a danger than Donald Trump, because where is he supposed to go? He cannot even go to the toilet without someone knowing what's going on.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. You know, I mentioned this before, Sarah. Why don't you and I go to Philadelphia and go into a department store, and we'll steal $498, and then we will get for our efforts a ticket. That's it.
And they do it because they can get away with it. I wouldn't do it because I know it's wrong. I would not disrespect a police officer or a teacher or anyone in authority, but there is no respect. And the police, God bless them, I don't know how they do it. Imagine being a police officer in Philadelphia and in Atlantic City.
I can't imagine.
People jump on you because you're trying to make an arrest. And it starts from the home. If there's no respect in the home, then it funnels down to the offspring.
Yeah, that's right. That is absolutely right.
It's worrisome. It's absolutely worrisome. It has me very worried because I have alarm on my home, alarm on my vehicle, camera, and so forth. I'm protecting myself.
Yeah.
You know, if I need a gun, I have to go to the police department and, get a permit and so forth. The criminals, they don't care about the law.
No, that's right.
They just get one wherever they can. They know how to get one. I don't know how to get one off the black market, but they're walking around with guns.
Yeah.
14, 15 years old.
Boy.
And they're free.
Yeah. Yeah. That's...
We have to hold these prosecutors accountable for allowing this to happen. We have to hold them accountable.
I know. I don't know how the guy in Philadelphia keeps his job. I really don't. And for that matter, in other big cities, I don't know how they keep their job. I mean, if it was you and I in a regular job anywhere, we'd be fired. But yet...
And then they want more money.
Yeah.
They're getting raises, and they think they doing it okay. They can't even smell the you-know-what.
Yeah, that's right.
You-know-what.
That's right.
They think they're doing such a good job.
Yeah, and they aren't. And they definitely aren't. Sarah, as always, we thank you for the call. It's just gloom and doom again here on the show. Bob in Cape May, or Florida, I should say. Bob, how you doing?
Hey, John. Look, the Trump in getting the Teamsters Union endorsement, okay? It's insane what these union members do, re-electing these leaders. The union leaders is really what I'm pointing at. Yeah, they endorse Democrats automatically, no matter what policies these Democrats push. And the example I want to bring up is Kevin Fain, head of the United Auto Workers Union, who endorsed Biden. I mean, just absolutely loves Biden, right? Well, Biden is pushing the electric cars down the throats of the American consumer, and these electric vehicles, they require a lot less workers to produce these vehicles. They cost us more. They're much more costly from a maintenance perspective, but they also take away American jobs, United Auto Workers Union jobs. All right? It's a lose-lose situation for everybody. except the people that have an interest in promoting these electric vehicles. So the people that invest in companies that make the batteries, a lot of Biden administration members are doing that. But again, what are these union leaders doing? They're supposed to be representing the best interest of the union members. They're not doing it, not at all. And, again, when are the union members going to wake up and throw the bums out in their leadership and, get leaders that are, doing what's in their union members' interest? The electric cars are an absolute disaster.
Yeah.
Yet the head of United Auto Workers, he's endorsing a politician that's going to crush the incomes and the jobs of his union members. Now, what is that all about? So,
yeah, I just don't understand how union members blindly just vote. Oh, well, the union said vote, and my father was in a union, and I used to see the literature. Yeah, vote for this guy, and it was always Democrats, always Democrats.
John, I have a friend who is a retired United Auto Workers guy. Worked on the line since he was in his early 20s, okay? Worked on the line for decades. Retired, hates Trump, can't even talk. I can't even talk to him about Trump and Biden. He's a Biden lover. All right? And this guy, he was pissed off at me because I bought a Toyota product, your Lexus that you advertise.
Yes.
Well, they are very, very reliable.
Yes, they are.
Great vehicles.
Yes, they are.
All right. So in 2005, I bought a used Toyota Highlander, right, made by non-union employees. Okay. This guy wouldn't even. He was pissed off at me. Okay. I mean, yeah, we patched things up, but he was pissed off because I bought this vehicle. My choice was to buy a Chevy Trailblazer or a GMC version, right, of that kind of SUV. They were terrible. I took them out for a road test. They were terrible. But you know what? They would have been an absolute maintenance nightmare. They would have lost their value tremendously compared to. Yeah. And you know what? I still have that 20-year-old Toyota Highlander.
You wouldn't have had that with the other ones, that's for sure.
No way.
But
all I have to do on that vehicle is change the oil, replace the brakes now and then, and that's it. Okay,
Bob, we got to run. We're out of time. Thanks for the call. Hey, we're out of time. How about that? Thanks to Chris Coleman, our program director and producer, and thanks to you, the listeners, because without you, we don't have a show. Talk with a Purpose, every Saturday, 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. I'm John DeMasi. Thanks again. We'll talk to you next Saturday, 9 till noon, right here on WPG Talk Radio 95.5. Take care.
The preceding program was paid for and presented by John DeMasi.